AM 560 Weather Center forecast. The very latest now with AccuWeather's Steve Williams.
A wind advisory today. Clouds and sun. Windy and high today at 58. Clouds and breezy. Showers around this evening. Flurries late tonight. Low 24. Partly sunny, breezy. Cold day tomorrow. And the high at 31. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
36 and cloudy at O'Hare. 37 at Midway. Your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Rick Borick, host of Unleash Your Wealth.
When the stock market struggles, when inflation is high, you need to start looking through the inventory of all your accounts and say, is every one of these investments working as hard as it could be? Because every month during high inflation that you waste, you're losing 8 or 9% a year.
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and our new time at 2 p.m. here on AM 560, The Answer.
Illinois has one of the worst funded pension systems in the country. It's one of the reasons for high taxes in our state. And Springfield politicians have plans to add more debt to the system. Join me, Jeannie Ives, along with Ted Dabrowski of WirePoints and Keith Pekow, Mayor of Orland Park, for a critical town hall discussion Thursday, March 13th at 6 p.m. in Glen Ellen. We'll break down the numbers and explore real solutions. Tickets available only in advance at breakthrough-ideas.com. That's breakthrough-ideas.com.
Attention American homeowners, you're under attack. Your home and equity could be vulnerable to cyber thieves. There's only one company that completely stops them, and that company is Equity Protect. Equity Protect prevents any attempts to steal your home, equity, and ownership 24/7. Get your free risk report today by texting the word HOME to 94878. That's right, text the word HOME to 94878 to get your free risk report. Keep your equity and legacy safe with Equity Protect.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hey all, Jim Carr here. I am the owner of Carr Machine and Tool in Elk Grove Village and loyal customer of Signature Bank. As a second generation owner, I knew I had to shift from operating as an old school machine shop to what I can proudly say is now one of the fastest growing aerospace manufacturing facilities in the region. Signature Bank was there every step of the way through our expansion efforts, including financing our new state-of-the-art facility. Their valuable industry expertise and constant communication throughout the construction process made our vision possible. Many thanks to Signature Bank for supporting Carr Machine and Tool. You set the bar high for other banks.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Why do so many companies count on Riverdale Plating and Heat Treating? Consistent high level of quality, an ISO certified and A2LA accredited heat treating, electroplating, fastener sorting, and packaging job shop. Riverdale Plating and Heat Treating meets and exceeds client specifications. Whether a high volume or a small production run, their processes ensure a job well done. Celebrating their 15th anniversary this year, they specialize in metal fasteners and stampings for automotive and other industries. And with a newly expanded sorting department, there are many sorting and packaging options to meet your needs. Riverdale Plating and Heat Treating serves customers in Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin, and Tennessee, with easy access to all forms of transportation from an automated facility in Riverdale, Illinois, just 15 minutes southwest of Chicago. Want consistent quality? Call Riverdale Plating and Heat Treating, 708-849-2050, or visit riverdalePHT.com.
Good news for small businesses. The all-in IT package from Turnkey has been extended. That's right. Turnkey, the local leader in small business IT services, is extending their all-in package pricing through February 28th. With the all-in package, your business receives unlimited help desk support, firewall router, unlimited backup and recovery, and antivirus protection for one low monthly investment. Plus, all-in customers enjoy new hardware every 4 years. So take advantage today and replace all your equipment with new hardware from Turnkey and enjoy all-in IT services for one low monthly payment. There's still time to save during February. For 3 decades, Turnkey has been the backbone of local companies. Let them focus on the IT while you focus on the big stuff. For IT services from world-class technicians who care, now's the time to go all in with Turnkey. Ask for the all-in package. Visit turnkey.pro today. Quality IT is a call away. That's turnkey.pro.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
As a local business owner, you get called every week by marketing companies. We get it. We have hundreds of satisfied customers. Here's what a satisfied client recently said.
Open enrollment is going great. We're hitting record numbers. Thank you so much for this report. It really is amazing to see how the marketing is really shaping our enrollment around the city.
If you're a local business and ready for the next step, visit surroundchicago.com right now. Our experts are ready to help you take your marketing to the next level. Visit surroundchicago.com today.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This hourly segment brought to you by Unleash Your Wealth with Raj Shah and Rick Borick this Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. Learn more at scwealthadvisors.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good Friday morning, Amy Jacobson here. Charles Thomas in for Dan Proft, and I see you have a problem over there.
Well, the thing
came out of the thing.
Hey, watch it.
And now we're pregnant with triplets.
That didn't get on the air. What I said.
No.
Okay,
no.
Good.
Yeah, so the cable fell out of the computer.
Well, good morning. I tell you, I'm glad to be back. I mean, I'm like, did I get the 6th man award?
Yes.
This year.
Yes, Dick Vitale's going to give you an award for being the 6th man. Right in time for March Madness, because March begins tomorrow. Believe it or not, it's March 1st tomorrow.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
But the payments aren't due until Monday. I got to think about that. You know?
Oh, I know. No payments. Yeah, they're not due. You can mess with that too.
I'll mess with it at the break.
No, that's all right. Honestly, you can.
Okay,
you can plug it in. I keep jabbering because while you're gone, our team here, our crew has been victimized not once but almost twice. Justin Kosick, our technical producer, his car was broken into, and they smashed it in, but they didn't take anything. But then they came back. So, Justin, fill us in on what's going on.
So, actually, funny story, reviewing the footage today after everything had happened, he did try to steal my car on Monday.
Oh, he did.
He hopped in my car, and there was a moment when, because he came in, he smashed the back window, stuck his first foot in, tried to bring his whole body in. And there's this moment where you see him pause, and he sees it's a push to start and says, "Oh, crap," and blows out of Dodge.
Oh. So he was late to work on Monday because, are you okay with there, buddy? Okay, now I'm going to tell you not. We'll fix it during the break.
Yeah, Justin could be very useful here.
But he's got to tell the story. Okay, so that happened on Monday because he's got this great camera system where even from his balcony he can zoom into the parking lot and see who's doing what and coming from where. And it's in color, too. I mean, it's so fascinating. So you shared that with police, right, that video?
Yeah, oh, yeah. I shared the first video, and then Wednesday morning, the offender made a return.
He came back to the scene. It's like an arsonist who sets a building on fire and then just sits and watches it burn. So he probably came back to see
He probably wanted to see his work.
Yeah.
Because
was the window fixed by then?
Yeah, the window was fixed. I got it fixed on Monday afternoon, and so it wasn't ready by Tuesday, so I didn't have a car in the lot on Tuesday. But Wednesday night, or Tuesday night into Wednesday, I mean, I was awake and alert at the time that he came the previous morning, and I saw him, and I caught him in the act.
And so he turned on his car alarm, and watching the guy jump like a little schoolgirl was awesome.
Oh.
Can we put that video out or probably not?
I mean, I don't care. So the update is now, as of yesterday, they caught the guy.
Oh, they did?
Yes, I spoke with the officer last night.
Okay, does he live in your building?
He does not live in the building. He doesn't even live in the town.
What?
Per the officer. And the more fascinating thing is it's a juvenile.
Oh. So
we don't know anything. They can't tell us anything about anything. And all I know right now is that a judge may or may not reach out, but I mean, we know the justice system in Illinois.
Yeah, he's probably.
He was already released.
Okay.
Yeah,
and then he didn't just break into your car; he broke into another woman's car.
He broke into my neighbor's car and then 2 other cars in the same lot. So there are 4 buildings, and I think he picked like one from each building to mess with. All Hyundais too.
Oh, that's right, the Hyundai.
So when was he arrested?
He was arrested yesterday morning.
Well, that means he's probably already out.
Oh, yeah, he was.
You better watch
They
it. Were you
confirmed that he
watching
was
your
out.
car? Oh, they told you at least?
Yeah, they told us he was out. The apartment complex sent it in the memo.
Yeah.
Well, what did the memo read? Did it give you any information, or because
I mean, they were pretty hesitant to give out any information because he was a juvenile. Yeah. Due to privacy laws regarding juveniles in Illinois, the police are unable to share additional information. But they have charged a juvenile for vandalism and attempted auto theft crimes that occurred over the past few days in the parking lot. They were able to identify the individual. The juvenile does not live in the buildings and does not live in East Dundee.
Okay.
But I do want to give a big shout out to East Dundee Police. They have been absolutely fantastic through this.
Good.
To get it solved this quickly actually gives me a little bit of hope for what our tax dollars are going towards.
Yeah, that's good. Good for you. And then why are you going to move? Because his wife, they're having a baby soon.
Yeah.
May 19th is the due date. Not that I remember, and I'm stalking a little child. Aunt Amy's here. No, what? So are you going to stay there, though? Or do you...
No, the wife will not let us stay. And after the second time he came back, I was fully on board with her plan to blow out of there.
All right. What town are you going to go to? Where does one feel?
I'm not
Where should
that,
Justin move? 312-642-5600. Let's open it up to our friends. Or you could text us. I mean, what about, is Elgin safe? I mean, what's safe anymore?
Nowhere. I mean, nowhere really safe. I mean, I'm thinking, wow, you mean, I live in the West Loop.
Oof.
Like every night, you mean, you got stuff going on, and people come there to commit their crimes, their burglaries and car break-ins and such. We're a destination.
Crime spot?
Crime spot, yeah. And
all-inclusive, I hope, yes.
Yeah, and you're paying, big money, and taxes go up.
Do you live in a
and
high-rise?
up and up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's an old warehouse.
All right.
That's been real nice. It's cool, but
do you have a doorman?
Yes.
All right.
I wouldn't live, and I have indoor parking.
Okay.
In a cavernous, old, 100-year-old basement, which is cool because you got to go through a couple of gates to get there. So my wife can come home at 2:00 in the morning and she can.
What the heck
just go
is
right
your
upstairs.
wife doing at 2 a.m.? Huh? You got a party girl you're married to? She hanging out with Cheryl Burton and Camille Edwards?
Remember those?
Oh, I do. I would see them at bars and I'm like, whoa, is that my boss? Whoa. But I love
on the table with the
all right, well, good. I'm glad you feel safe. But Justin, what are you thinking? Where are you looking right now?
We have a place in mind that we had looked at that we were hesitant on, and it just fully sealed the deal when all of this stuff went down. I mean, I'm thankful they caught the guy, but there's no guarantee he won't come back and try to retaliate. And in Illinois, we know what would happen.
Yeah, because it's really weird that he came back, too.
That
I
was
didn't
the
get
part
it the
that freaked
first
me
time,
out.
but the second time I'm going to get it. Lots of text messages for you. You should live in Huntley or try Crystal Lake. Another person texted in Munster, Indiana.
Indiana would be nice.
Munsters are really, that's one of the best kept secrets in this region.
Tell anybody. Or St. John. And
Yes.
Highland. I love
Yes,
Highland.
yes, yeah.
I go to the best yoga class in Highland, Indiana.
Well, a good friend
I'm
of mine
going on
just-
Sunday, too.
Yeah, well, one of my best work friend just moved to Highland.
Oh, really?
And and he loves it.
It's a
Loves
cute
it.
downtown, and they appreciate their heroes. They put up pictures of people from the community who have served, not banners, saying, oh, this is the high school. This is somebody who went to this high school who served in the military, and then they say their branch of service, and they've got great, has he been to SIP yet?
Are you SIP?
Yeah, it's good.
What's that? Is that a restaurant?
They make the homemade bread. It's a
Yeah.
cafe.
Yeah, the last time I went to dinner there at Theo's, I think it's
Oh,
called.
yeah. Okay.
Right there along Indianapolis Boulevard.
Yep.
Yeah, no, he loves it. He loves it. Man, he's got a little lake, little pond. This is a guy that moved from, the lake, was it like, what do they call that? What do they call it?
Lakeshore Drive?
Well, just off Lakeshore Drive, just after it
Broadway.
becomes Sheridan, after Holiday,
So he's a city guy.
all his life, and then moved out there, and now he's just all this room in Highland. And at the time, he got a bargain. Now,
Yeah, I
you're
know.
going to spend, a lot of money now to get not a lot,
But
more,
it's gone up hundreds of thousands
significantly,
after COVID.
significantly. Yeah, and you can walk around the neighborhood at night and not worry about
Getting jumped, and you could go to yoga.
Jumped. You like that? You jumped. You that's some hood stuff. You talk about getting jumped.
Well, how many times did I've lived in Detroit, Chicago, all over, and people always say, well, I got jumped.
I got
so
jumped.
now that's in my
Right.
vernacular. I've got jumped.
I got jumped.
I just don't want you getting jumped, okay?
I've been jumped before. I got jumped.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
So, how's the separation going? Are you guys able to work things out?
No. I think we're headed for divorce.
That sucks. Going to be an expensive legal battle?
Well, no, that's one thing we agree on, actually. Arbitration.
Arbitration? Like mediation?
Sort of, but better. We'll have a firm decision.
Oh, that's easier. Who's your arbitrator?
Bert Hochberg.
That attorney at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck?
Yeah, senior partner. Comes highly recommended.
Are you facing divorce or a family law issue? Burton S. Hochberg offers arbitration services, a dispute resolution process that will save you time, money, and the complexity of litigation. Let Burton hear and resolve your claims with choices that best suit you and yours. To discuss, call Bert directly. Or even better, have your attorney call Bert at 773-255-6150. That's 773-255-6150. Again, 773-255-6150. No one knows arbitration like Bert Hochberg. Why go through a difficult divorce? Call Bert at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck, Chicago's preeminent family law firm since 1981.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
AM 560. The Answer.
All right, we have a great show for you. First, the 911 calls from the Gene Hackman investigation. If you're going to go, I want to go like that. We'll explain.
Yeah, please.
But now, let's head into the newsroom. Mike Scott, where should Justin Kosick move to? What town?
Wherever he would like to.
Okay.
And we'll keep it anonymous and we'll keep it safe.
Yes.
And only we will know here inside the newsroom.
Yes.
And we'll keep
We
it.
know, and we're not going to give them a baby stork thing that people put up in their lawns. I hate that.
I don't mind those so much.
Oh, I do. Do you know how many stories I did with people that had their child kidnapped because they knew that they were newborns living in that house, and they wanted the babies. So
I don't mind that so much.
I got a bad story for every situation.
You do.
Let's just go.
Man, well, how dark.
5:33 on AM 560, The Answer. The Trump administration firing a few weather forecasters ahead of the Atlantic hurricane season. On Thursday, the administration sent termination letters to hundreds of probationary employees at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, which controls the National Weather Service. A judge has ruled that the Trump administration's mass firings of other federal workers are illegal and should end. That, according to a district judge who ruled Thursday that the Office of Personnel Management must rescind the memo, but the ruling does not reinstate the workers. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is in Washington. He'll meet today with President Trump and sign a deal on sharing Ukrainian mineral resources. Zelensky says the deal is preliminary and wants more security guarantees. Speaking at a joint news conference with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer yesterday, the president said the groundwork is being laid for a ceasefire deal.
As I discussed with Prime Minister Starmer, the next step we're making is toward a very achievable ceasefire. We hope that can happen quickly.
His White House visit is coming the same week that saw the third anniversary of the full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine. Michigan Senator Elise Slotkin being picked to deliver the Democrat response to President Trump's congressional address. The oldest known Holocaust survivor has died. Rose Jerome passed away at a New York nursing home Monday at the age of 113. Well, our friends just north of the border have decided they're going to have a little fun. The Milwaukee Admirals tonight will try to set a world record. The IHL hockey team will be changing its name to the Milwaukee Cowbells in honor of the 25th anniversary of that famous SNL skit.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
The Admirals will, the record the Admirals will be trying to set is the most cowbells rung at one time. Now, the world record was set at Mississippi State University with over 5,700 cowbells rung in 2003. The Admirals will attempt to break that record as the first 6,000 fans will get a cowbell. It's going to be a windy day in the Chicago area. The National Weather Service says wind gusts could top 45 miles an hour. Chicago Board of Education keeping 5 charter schools open. The board voting yesterday to keep 5 of the 7 Acero charter schools slated for closure open through the end of the 25-26 school year. Over the course of the next year, Chicago's Department of Transportation will install an additional 50 speed cameras throughout the city, bringing that total number to more than 200. CDOT will publicize the camera's location before they're activated. Blackhawks surrender 5 goals in the first period of a 7-5 loss to Vegas. Bulls back in action tonight, hosting Toronto at the United Center. Kansas City has informed Pro Bowl guard Trey Smith they will use the NFL franchise tag on him, keeping Smith from the Bears this offseason. And on the PGA Tour, Jake Knapp sitting on top of the leaderboard after round 1 of the Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches. The news, a service of Quick Delivery Service. Make Quick Delivery Service your personal ground crew anytime, anywhere, any place. When you need to move your shipment or freight, Quick Delivery will get it there. Get a quote in advance. No surprises. QuickDelivery.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The first weeks of the new Trump administration have been full speed ahead, making America great again.
This could only get better.
And on Tuesday, March 4th, President Trump will take a victory lap when he addresses Congress and the nation. And AM 560 is throwing a watch party.
They tell me it's very exciting.
Join us for dinner and President Trump's speech on March 4th in Rolling Meadows. Get your tickets at 560theanswer.com/watch. That's 560theanswer.com/watch. Sponsored in part by Fox Valley Coins.
Maha starts with Virago, making America healthy again. With the worst flu season in years, you need an immune system boost. The stronger your immune system, the stronger your body fights and defends against So get Virago. Virago Immune Enhancement Support is a unique blend of 23 nutraceuticals, ingredients that have been available as individual nutraceuticals, but now working in synergy to maximize their effects. Recommended by medical physicians, dentists, and other healthcare professionals, Virago is the nutraceutical cocktail for immune support. Developed to strengthen your immune system for quick response to immune challenges, for short and long-term immunity, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. It even protects your heart, kidneys, liver, all in a unique liquid supplement for better absorption. Order online at myvirago.com. That's myvirago.com. myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Quality ingredients for optimum health. Maha. Making America healthy again starts with Virago.
You never want to miss one of life's most important moments. A graduation, a birthday, a first communion, a wedding. When these moments happen, you want to make sure to capture them so that you and your loved ones can remember them for years to come. For over 30 years, families have relied on Tom Kaloran Photography to capture important life moments. This locally owned family business can provide the solutions you need for your important event photography, from weddings and birthdays to class reunions and golf outings. No matter the size or scope, Tom Kaloran Photography will make sure you have lasting memories to share for years to come. Tom Kaloran Photography is also the official photographer for AM 560 The Answer. To learn more and to see their portfolio, just visit KaloranPhotography.com. That's KILLORAN photography.com. Or call them at 708-361-0025. Tom Kaloran Photography, capturing important life moments for over 30 years.
Who should control the future of artificial intelligence? Washington or Springfield? If you're interested in learning more about one of the most talked about current topics, mark your calendar for Saturday, March 15th to attend an insightful presentation on the Supreme Court's decision and its implications for bioethics. This talk will be presented by the distinguished Clark Forsyth, prestigious author, professor, and senior counsel at Americans United for Life. Clark has been a co-counsel for parties in 3 U.S. Supreme Court cases and has argued cases before federal and state appellate courts. He has also testified before Congress and state legislatures and is the author of 3 books on law and bioethics, including Abuse of Discretion, The Inside Story of Roe v. Wade. Clark has been published in the Wall Street Journal, Washington Times, Newsweek, and many other publications. The Sag Bridge Mission Society proudly presents Clark Forsyth, J.D., March 15th at 7 p.m. at Sag Hall, 10600 Archer in Lamont. No charge for admission. Seating is limited. Register now at sagbridgemissonsociety.org. That's sagbridgemissonsociety.org.
541 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. We'll start on the Stevenson where we had an earlier semi-fire. 2 right lanes are blocked. Inbound between First Avenue and Harlem, big delays. Dan Ryan inbound. Locals, you've got an inbound off-ramp to the Stevenson bottled up with an accident. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Windy with clouds and sun today. Some of those wind gusts could top 45 miles an hour and a high of 58. Currently 36. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
All right. Gene Hackman, one of my favorite actors. I had a moment yesterday, I got to tell you. Him and Dolly Parton. When Dolly Parton dies, I probably won't be able to come to work. I'll be inconsolable. But Gene Hackman, when I was a kid, I loved him as Lex Luthor. And then it made me watch The French Connection, and then it made me just be enthralled with it because he's like an everyday actor.
I'm still afraid of Little Bill.
Oh.
Little Bill Daggett. That was his name? Unforgiven?
Unforgiven, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
He's scary. I mean, he everything he touched turned to gold.
Yeah.
Even if it was something cheeky like Superman, he owned it. And here's my favorite scene from Hoosiers, which Dan didn't like, but Dan's not here.
There's a tradition in tournament play to not talk about the next step until you've climbed the one in front of you. I'm sure going to the state finals is beyond your wildest dreams, so let's just keep it right there. Forget about the crowds, the size of the school, their fancy uniforms, and remember what got you here. Focus on the fundamentals that we've gone over time and time again. And most important, don't get caught up thinking about winning or losing this game. If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners. Okay?
I do this all the time. It's called, hey.
All right.
Hey.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let me hear it.
Yeah, you like it, Charles?
Now that was the Academy Award.
No, this was Hoosiers. He did not win an Oscar
What did he win?
Hoosiers. French Connection and your movie that you just talked about. Oh
The
my God.
Unforgiven.
Unforgiven.
Yeah,
I believe.
yeah.
I know he won 2. Should have won more. Well, the 911 call has been released because Gene Hackman, I don't know if you've seen him lately, 95 years old.
I haven't
You remember
seen him,
what he looks like,
Right.
during his peak of his career, but he's old. And he hasn't been in movies. He retired in 2000. And he's married, though, to a young, well, she's not, I mean, she's 64 years old.
That's a lot
Awara
younger
Carr,
than him.
she's a pianist, and their bodies were both found dead. This is the man, both found dead. Their bodies were both found in their Santa Fe, New Mexico home. And her face was bloated and her hands started to mummify. And she was next to a space heater in the bathroom. He was in the mudroom. His body was on the floor and his sunglasses were next to him, so they think he suffered some kind of fall. But in the bathroom, there were pills. There was a bottle of prescription pills that were open up and some were strewn on the counter. And her German Shepherd was in the bathroom closet dead.
In the bathroom closet.
He's dead too. So I don't know if they don't know if he starved to death or if he was if he was killed. I mean, I hope they do a necropsy on him, on the dog, to see if she gave him pills while she took pills, maybe, if it was suicide pact or something else. But there's no forced entry, no signs of foul play. And here's a person who found, looked inside the window, didn't go inside the house, and called 911.
Santa Fe 911, what is your emergency?
Hello, my name is the caretaker for Santa Fe Summit. I'm here at past 10,000 waves. I think we just found one deceased person inside the house. What's the address here? There's no address. I'm going to wait for you at the gate. I'm going to wait for you to please send somebody really quick.
Okay, what's going to be the address?
It's going to be down at the gatehouse. I'll meet you over there. I'll meet them over there. I'm the caretaker for the subdivision. I'm going to bring them up here.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me speak with the paramedics.
Thank you.
Give me 1 second.
Damn.
He's crying.
Are you with the patient now?
Yeah, I'm over at their property. There's no address here. So I have to meet the ambulance or the police, whoever, down at the gatehouse. I'll bring them up here.
Okay. How old is the patient?
I have no idea.
You don't know? Okay, that's fine. Is the patient a male or a female?
A female and a male, probably. I don't know, sir. Just send somebody up here real quick.
Okay. Are they awake?
I have no idea.
Are they breathing?
I have no idea. I'm not inside the house. It's closed. It's locked. I can't go in. But I see them. She's laying down on a floor from the window.
Do they appear to be awake or alert?
No. It's not.
And later on, they said, where are you? And he goes, we keep his address private because everybody in Santa Fe, it's a small town. They know who he is, where he lives. But there were 2 dogs that were still alive. One was hovering around the deceased lady's body, appeared to be fine, and the other one was outside and the other deceased dog was in the closet of the bathroom. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. They did rule out, because I immediately thought carbon monoxide poisoning, because that would have been a simple answer, because that could kill humans and dogs alike. And the gas company came out right away in the fire department, like, there's no carbon monoxide leak.
Well, there's obviously the pills are of a concern, but does that suggest that both, or maybe one? But 64 is pretty young.
Yeah, and she's a successful pianist. And they've been together since, I think the 1980s they met, then they finally married in 1990. So they've been together for decades. But I don't know. I just think if you're going to go, that's a pretty good way to go.
Really?
Peaceful, take a few pills.
You want to go.
Your dog goes with you. Everything's fine.
You want to go, me, I want to go fast.
Oh.
But, my faith teaches me that the spirit of suicide is evil. And
so if you kill yourself, do you go to hell? What does your faith tell you about that?
My faith tells me you do.
Okay.
That you basically try to be God. I think every time we in our world try to be God, that's when we really trip up. That's when whether it's abortion, whether it's suicide, that's when I think that's a sin, quite frankly. And I know what I want not to do, but if I'm in a situation where I'm 95.
Yeah, and he had an accomplished life, but I don't know. Maybe they got in a fight and she slipped him a roofie to knock him out. I mean, we don't know. Or maybe she was diagnosed with terminal cancer and said, I don't want to go through that and I'm just going to end my life. I mean, we don't know. And there was no note left behind.
We don't know.
Nothing. And he had 3 kids with his first wife, and I don't know if they were estranged or not, or if they talked to him, but people hadn't seen them in a long time, and hence her body started to mummify.
Yeah,
so that's a long time.
We don't know. We don't know, but he did leave a treasure, his art.
Yes.
And we can always appreciate that. And he had such range as an actor.
Yep, never forget him.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. Sign up for the AM 560 Answer Advantage to get early alerts on event ticket sales, special discounts, and contest opportunities. Sign up today at 560theanswer.com/advantage.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
This is Hugh Hewitt for townhall.com.
Approximately 11,000 homes and an unknown number of churches and structures were lost in the Palisades and Eaton fires in the Los Angeles city and counties this January. If the fires of 2018 are any guide, those who lost their homes are looking at a long and winding road to return to them, if ever. Governor Newsom has asked President Trump for $40 billion in relief funds. The President and the Secretary of the Interior, Doug Burgum, ought to say no to that and instead say half of the $40 billion amount requested. But a Congress that provides aid should also demand and express in detailed language a preemption of all state, regional, and local regulations governing the burn area of these fires. The legislation ought to vest sole land use authority over those areas in the Department of the Interior, Office of the Secretary of the Interior. It's an opportunity for Donald Trump that could make California golden again. I'm Hugh Hewitt.
Enjoy uninterrupted programming from Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson around the clock, all day, every day, including daily replays of Chicago's Morning Answer on Dan and Amy 24/7. Listen now at danandamy247.com. AM 560, The Answer.
All right, got a text message. Charles, cite the Bible verse, which informs your opinion that your faith tells you that you go to hell for suicide. My Bible doesn't say that.
Well, you know, I've heard that from the pulpit.
Oh, yeah.
Quite a bit, that you shouldn't.
Yes, that thou shalt not kill, and
right.
That includes thou shalt not kill oneself.
Exactly.
What's killing it is our budget here in Chicago. Brandon Johnson, by the slimmest of margins, I mean, just barely made it by, passed an $830 million budget for infrastructure. We have potholes, people. Are you ready for this? Guess what it's going to cost taxpayers? $2 billion in interest for an $830 million loan. And, guess when they're going to have to start paying the interest on that loan? Guess what year?
I bet. Do you think Brandon would still be around, or?
No, it's 2027 when he's out of office. How convenient.
How convenient. Well, he can run from it, but does this mean he's already is announcing that he's not running for another term? I mean, with the 6%.
It's 6.6% there, so don't forget the 0.6.
The 0.6 approval rating. Then maybe he's already decided that he's not going to do it again.
Well, the point of contention was that, first of all, they didn't have a discussion before they took the vote. He wanted to rush. Like, he was anxious when he got into council chambers. Like, we got to get this done. We got to get this done.
So this idea that we're in a real hurry and we got to get this done today or else is absolute and total baloney.
Yeah. Alderman Riley wanted to wait until May to discuss the issue because it passed 26 to 23.
Whoa. That was a close one.
Yeah, I know. And Bill Conway knows what it means for the future.
When my 5-year-old is 30, we will be paying $820 million over a period of 6 years on this very bond.
Alderman Burnett, though, thought that it was, I mean, his hair was on fire. Like, we need this right now because there's potholes everywhere. Well, yeah, no duh. It's February in Chicago.
Potholes will grow bigger. Vacant buildings will catch on fire, light poles will fall, and bridges could deteriorate beyond repair.
And I could lose my condo eventually because I can't continue to pay these taxes as they go up.
Exactly.
I mean, and a lot of people are going to lose their homes.
Well, my neighbor, she's a senior citizen. She got the senior citizen exemption. She's gone. She goes, "Why? I'm moving to Indiana."
Mm-hmm.
I have more land, like your friend has, and her taxes are $1,200 a year, not a month, a year. It's crazy. But here's the sticky with this $830 million. It's not. Guess where it's going to go? It's going to go to the CTU and the teacher's pension.
Well, of course.
Well, they say that it's not. I'm like, no. Here's Pat Dowell. No,
we can do that while ensuring that not a single cent of this money goes to anything besides infrastructure.
They always say that.
Exactly.
They always say that.
And that's why I love the candor of Alderman Beal, because he knows the game.
You can always play the shell game, and you can move money around, free money up here to do money here, and that is what is going to happen.
You know, Anthony Beal has spoken truth for a long time. I mean, I can go back to Beale when I was on the street covering politics 15 years ago.
He was a different man.
He was a different, but he always made sense to me.
Okay.
Anthony Beale always made sense. For some reason, the party has not given him the platform that I think he should have. And I'll say it here. I mean, he's always made sense to me.
I've always wanted him to be mayor. Always. He was so reasonable, too, during the pandemic. He kept the Pullman Center open as best he could. I mean, he knew that this was affecting kids. He and I were on the same page with that.
Remember immigration?
Oh, yeah. And yes.
He was the one who basically said at the very beginning that he wanted to vote. He wanted the people of Chicago to vote on this whole sanctuary city business.
He wanted to take away the sanctuary city status.
Right. Well, but he wanted to vote.
Right.
I think more importantly, he wanted the people to decide it before public policy. And you see where we are now.
I know. And then BJ goes to Washington, D.C. on Wednesday. And that is going to be a disaster. Here he is yesterday. He's prepared, Charles.
I'm going to be prepared to defend working people in this city and challenge Congress to do their job. They could pass laws right now. Instead of picking fights right now, we should be finding solutions. If anyone wants to use this as some sort of political score or points, I'm not going to participate in that.
He doesn't. He's going there for a political score.
Right. He's the perfect.
Wake up.
He's the perfect guy to do it, though, Amy, because the man has no political legs under him. He has no future. So you can, put him on the funeral pyre and let him burn, because that's what's going to happen. I mean, America has changed, fundamentally changed, and that happened on November 5th. We all saw it. So if you're going to sacrifice somebody, sacrifice him, because at 6.6% approval rating, he has no future.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, it's Economic Blackout Day. Will you be participating? But now into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
A windy day ahead, gusty winds at 45 miles an hour. WIND Chicago News Time, 6 o'clock.
Deepening ties with Ukraine. I'm Chris Foster at Fox News. Ukraine's president's back at the White House today to talk about support for the war with Russia, how to end that war, and a deal tying our countries together for years to come.
Volodymyr Zelensky arrives here this morning to sign off on a historic economic framework tying the U.S. to Ukraine's rare earth mineral development.
I think it's going to be great for Ukraine. We're going to be at the site, and we'll be digging.
President Trump says the partnership will help recoup taxpayer support for Ukraine and deepen cooperation with Zelensky.
We're going to get along really well, okay? We have a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for him.
President Trump did not say if he'd offer an apology for describing Zelensky earlier this month as a dictator. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The mass firing of probationary federal employees, probably illegal, says a federal judge in San Francisco, ordering the Office of Personnel Management to retract the firing directives. The judge says, though, he doesn't have the power to give anyone their job back or stop agencies from letting anybody go. Hundreds were laid off yesterday at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, and the National Weather Service. 29 prisoners, including a drug lord who killed a federal agent, are sent from Mexico to the U.S.
The handover of Rafael Caro Quintero, who was behind the 1985 killing of a DEA agent, was confirmed to the Associated Press by a Mexican government official and two other sources. It coincides with a visit to Washington by Mexico's foreign minister and other top economic and military officials who met with Secretary of State Marco Rubio as the U.S. and Mexico continue to negotiate on trade and security relations.
Fox's Lisa Lacera. The Iowa legislature passes a bill ending civil rights protections for transgender people, removing them from a list of groups protected from discrimination. America's listening to Fox News.
"36 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A windy day ahead in the Chicago area. National Weather Service also says wind gusts could top 45 miles an hour. Chicago Board of Education will keep 5 charter schools open. The board voting to keep 5 of the 7 Acero charter schools slated for closure open through the end of the 25-26 school year.
We have made a pledge to children and to families, and I feel that we have an obligation to maintain that pledge.
The schools may be incorporated by the Chicago Public Schools the following year. Over the course of the year, Chicago's Department of Transportation will apparently install an additional 50 speed cameras throughout the city, bringing the total to more than 200. Alderman Ray Lopez says it's a money grab by the mayor.
All funds, whether they are fines, fees, or what have you, go into the general fund, and then they are appropriated out to however the budget was originally approved. So to say that it's going to be specific for this, like in a lockbox type scenario, that's a mischaracterization of how budgeting works in the city of Chicago.
CDOT will publicize the camera locations. Drivers will be given a 30-day grace period when the new cameras are installed. Closing arguments expected today in the trial of the Plainfield landlord charged with murdering a Palestinian-American boy in 2023. Joseph Chuba, facing charges of first-degree murder, attempted murder, aggravated battery, and committing a hate crime. The fight over taxpayer subsidies for illegal migrant health care in Illinois continues as a new audit shows Illinois taxpayer costs ballooned way beyond estimates. On the House floor, State Representative Amy Ellick says the audit shows Republican concerns were valid.
It is not enough for us to say, I told you so. We must do better. Now is the time, and this is our opportunity to work for taxpayers, not promote fraud and overspending.
Pushing for universal health care, the governor saying the audit doesn't tell the whole story.
It may be their immigration status. It may be because they got a job that has health care coverage associated with it. But you expect them to move on, and maybe they didn't move on either because they didn't know they could, should.
Since inception, the program has cost Illinois taxpayers more than $1.6 billion. Blackhawks surrender 5 goals in the first in a 7-5 loss to Vegas. Northwestern going for their 3rd win in a row when they host Iowa at Welsh Ryan later on tonight. More bad news for the White Sox. Andrew Benintendi was hit by a pitch in a 4-2 win over Cleveland, and now he'll miss 4 to 6 weeks with a broken hand. The news, a service of The Home Show. It's the Crystal Lake Home Show. Make your home a dream home with one easy visit to your local free home show this weekend in Crystal Lake. Then on to Schaumburg, Lake County, and Oak Lawn. Find the show nearest you at freehomeshow.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk sees the left scrambling to keep up.
Where is La Resistance? Axios, which is a mainstream media regime operation, has published an article claiming that worn-out whiners are whining so much about not being able to keep up with President Trump's shock and awe and rapid-fire policy.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Hugh Hewitt at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
It's time to throw your overpriced big wireless contract overboard. With a qualifying plan, you can choose an iPhone 14 or a Samsung Galaxy for $0. Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team will make the switch in as little as 10 minutes. No hassle, no gimmicks, just honest-to-goodness wireless price right. Dial pound 250, you say the keywords Pure Talk, claim your new iPhone or Galaxy with a qualifying purchase from Pure Talk, which is America's wireless company. Visit puretalk.com for details.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Hey, Carl Jackson here for Dennis Prager. While Dennis Prager is recuperating, we know
know you miss your daily dose of Dennis. That's why Pragertopia is giving you a special gift. Right now, Pragertopia members can hear the best 2 hours of Dennis's favorite segments from as far back as 2010. On Monday, you can hear the Happiness Hour.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what I'm about.
Tuesday is Celebrity Guest Day.
Donald Trump Jr. is in studio with me.
On Wednesday, it's the Male-Female Hour.
I really do wish there were a way to ascertain the number of marriages that this hour has helped.
Thursday, the Ultimate Issues Hour.
Not having ultimate issues clarity is like having a map, but you don't know where you're going.
And Friday is Open Lines.
Feel free to ask me anything about me, about you, about life.
So if you're missing your daily dose of Dennis, go to Pragertopia.com and hear all your favorite segments along with lectures, celebrity interviews, and his famous Torah teachings and more. Get your daily dose of Dennis at Pragertopia.com, Pragertopia.com.
6:08 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Let's start on the Kennedy. An accident on the exit ramp outbound between Cumberland and I-190. We're seeing delays on your outbound trip to O'Hare this morning. Dan Ryan, accident on the exit ramp to the inbound Stevenson. You're backing up to Pershing Road, already 18 minutes from 95th into the circle. Tri-State, you have your entrance ramp shut down entirely because of an overturned semi. It's on northbound 294. The on-ramp from southbound I-57 is bottled up with that flip-over semi. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Clouds and some sun today. We do have a wind advisory. The high today at 58. Cloudy, breezy, showers around this evening. Flurries late tonight. Low down to 24. Partly sunny, breezy, much colder day tomorrow. High Saturday at 31. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
36 at O'Hare. Next news at 6:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good Friday morning. Amy Jacobson here. Charles Thomas in for Dan Proft. I think Dan's out there hitting the little white ball.
And
somewhere.
I'm here. We're talking about everything that's going on in our wonderful city, our wonderful state, our wonderful world.
And our old former colleagues. I mean, Chuck Gowdy is back. Like some people, when they retire, they miss the clowns or the circus. Sometimes they miss just the clowns. Sometimes they miss the circus. Sometimes they miss both. I think he missed both.
He must, because he's hanging on. He's hanging. You know, Chuck's got to be nearly 70 right now. He's got to be.
Well, I think he's had some.
Work.
I think he's had some work done. We've got a few little Chet Kopics, you know what I'm saying? Well, Chet would brag about his surgery. Like, come here, Jacobson, and he'd show me the incision from this ear over to this ear.
Really? And the lift?
Yeah, at East Bank Club. He would. He always would show me his surgeries. But anyway, I don't know if Chuck has had surgery, but he looks good.
Really? Well, you know, I mean, have you seen him on the air over there yet?
Oh, yeah. I fell off my chair. I'm like, whoa.
Oh, he's been on the air over there.
I was there the first. I mean, I was watching just by coincidence the first night that he was on the air. Doing an I-Team report. Or no, there are places called NBC Investigates.
Yeah. Is it still the same? I mean, I wasn't, you know, I was never really, to be honest with you, that impressed. Mm-hmm. I mean, with what came out of the I-Team at ABC 7.
Really?
Oh, no. I always thought that Channels 2 and 5 did a better job on the investigative side. But Chuck had the, number one, he had the audience.
Right.
And then
he had name recognition.
He had name recognition.
Because I grew up watching him.
And he had the gravitas.
Yeah.
He had that Chuck Gowdy, ABC 7 News. I mean, he did. He was style over substance because they really didn't let him do a lot of stuff.
Oh, he accused me one time in the Daily Herald of breaking into his hotel room in Miami. I remember Andrew Cunanan or
Sure,
Cunanan?
yeah, with the Lee Miglin
Right.
business.
So okay, the car from Minnesota was parked in front of Lee Miglin's house for 3 days. And as a morning reporter, I kept seeing the tickets pile up. And I said, have you guys run this plate yet? And they did. And guess what? It was linked to a double murder in Minneapolis.
Get out.
Oh, wow. And that just happened because I wanted that parking spot. And I came back like 2 days later and I'm like, this car is still here. Can you run the plate? Like, what's going to happen? And then but anywho, so then I got to go to Miami. Mm-hmm. And we were following him around. And was it? Oh, I'm so sorry. This is a different story. This is about a principal who ran away with one of his students. He was from Northwest Indiana. And we were in Vegas, not Miami, excuse me. And he thought that I broke into his hotel room that he rented where the guy had stayed the night before. So he wanted to be like, it was in this hotel room where he was with his former student. And he thought that I broke a window to get pictures from inside the hotel room. I was with Bud Stuckley. I am many things. I am not violent and I do not damage property. Okay, Chuck. And he put this whole article and this op-ed in the Daily Herald right after I got fired. So everybody was piling on. I thought, okay, come on.
Well,
that was just classless of him.
The thing that Gowdy did lately, he kind of went overboard with the January 6th business. And he was, casting these people, the local people who were arrested and convicted, I guess, on this January 6th thing as if they were like major criminals and that a big crime had been huge.
Like they were mob bosses. Like they were friends with Joey the Clown Lombardo.
Did you see any of those stories?
Yes, I did.
I mean, it was terrible. I said, Chuck, you're a little bit overboard on this. Do you know a lot of people don't think the same way about this January 6th business? But he kind of adopted the Disney ABC narrative. That this was the worst thing that happened since, or worse than 9/11, worse than the U.S. Civil War. I mean, it was crazy. And I kind of lost contact with Chuck at that point. And he's back at NBC now. That's amazing.
Well, speaking of NBC, your former V. Nguyen, I love how she says her name.
Okay.
She is showcasing what's happening today. It started at midnight. Do you know what started at midnight?
The blackout.
Yes, Economic Blackout Day. Mm-hmm. And this is the ask. They're asking people not to go to big box stores, particularly Target. Don't shop on Amazon, Walmart. And why is that? What do these big businesses have in common? They recently got rid of the DEI program, but they're not saying that. They're kind of dancing around the subject and then finally get to it.
Dira Armstrong works behind the counter at Fruve Express Juicery in Chicago's Hyde Park. While it's business as usual today, she says come tomorrow, she's not spending any money in support of economic blackout.
It's a big message, and we really have to take it seriously. Because if we don't know what could happen.
She's joining a nationwide protest started by a grassroots organization calling on consumers not to shop or spend money at major corporations or retailers for 24 hours so they could showcase their buying power. That includes not getting fast food or gas.
A lot of times people don't listen until money's involved.
Can't get my fries.
Kind of got to hit them where it hurts, and that's in the pocket.
This boycott comes as companies like Walmart and Target have been called out for rolling back their diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. President Trump signed executive orders ending those programs and policies. Faith leaders urging others to join the protests tomorrow.
We refuse to stand by while corporate greed devours our communities, while diversity and inclusion efforts are dismantled and justice is trampled under our foot.
Shannon Stokes says her family has been preparing for the blackout, getting everything that they need before Friday.
We have to make our voices heard in their pockets. There is absolutely no other choice that I would have.
Participants want to disrupt the economy for one day, saying this is the only way to send a message about change.
If this is what we have to do to send a message, then I think that's a great thing, because we have to do what we have to do to get the attention and to show our influence in the economy.
The founder of the People's Union USA is behind this economic blackout. It starts at midnight. We know 2 other boycotts are planned for early March.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You could also text us on that very same line. Charles, are you going to be participating in today's blackout day?
I heard about gas. I had to buy some gas up the street at the...
up here?
Up here, man.
Oh, it's a lot cheaper.
Well, it's a lot cheaper. and I had to get my gas. And
now, were you harassed were you harassed while you were pumping gas into your car? Because you're not supposed to be buying anything today.
I wasn't harassed. I was the only person there, of course. I don't see how one day is going to make any difference. I mean, remember back in the 50s, the Montgomery bus boycott went on for months and months.
Really?
Until finally, the Montgomery, Alabama bus system, which had been segregated,
became unsegregated.
Right. And that was the whole outcome of the Rosa Parks business. But one day, and this woman even admitted here that she went out and stocked up on whatever she needed. So I guess
like a storm's coming or something.
Right. But the fact of the matter is, she spent the money she would have spent on Blackout Day a day early. So this is ridiculous.
And then they go and interview a marketing professor at Northwestern University's Kellogg School of Management, and she says the economic blackout will likely make a dent in daily retail sales.
I doubt it. I mean, it depends on. I mean, I see a lot. One thing about the whole to the diversity, equity, and inclusion philosophy or whatever it is happened because the Supreme Court ruled against affirmative action programs at public universities. That was key. But the lawsuit was filed by Asian Americans to stop affirmative action at public universities. Asian Americans, if you include...
I've been following it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to understand that this is not something that people of color, diversity, equity, and inclusion support. And we have to understand the reality of America as we approach the mid-21st century. White people are not going to be the majority.
I know.
And Asian Americans, including East Asian Americans, Chinese, Japanese,
India,
Vietnamese, Koreans, and such, and then South Asian Americans, Indians, Malaysians, and such, and then West Asian Americans, Arabs, and such, they don't support these programs because they feel limited if in their endeavors. I mean, they want to get in med school at the rate that they qualify.
Right.
So they're
everything equal.
Yeah. So look at your hospital staffs. A lot of Indian doctors there.
Oh yeah.
More than their proportion in the society. They don't want to be limited by equity, and that's what we have to understand. That this is a new country. When all of this stuff started, it was black people complaining we're at a disadvantage because of history. Because we were complaining about a society that was 90% white. Well, it's not that way anymore, folks. It just isn't.
People need to change.
And people, we have to change with the times.
Right.
And what the equity part of it, man. I mean, they make a valid argument when they say equity. How about the NBA? We got equity there? No.
But you're just putting the best players on the court.
Absolutely.
That's what you do. All right, 312-642-5600. Let's go to John in Marengo. Hi, John. How are you?
How you doing?
Good.
So I was just, listening to the clip, the whole economic blackout thing, and the one lady comes on and says she bought everything she needed so she doesn't have to give the corporations their money on Friday. But she gave her money to them on what? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? So it doesn't matter. It all evens out.
All right. Thanks for the phone call. We got a text message. I'm going to enjoy shopping all day today at less crowded stores. All right. Thanks, John, for the phone call. Let's go to Marty in Naperville. Hi, Marty.
Good morning. First of all, the stores will be as crowded as usual. Second of all, this is kind of like Sheryl Crow boycotting Musk by selling her Tesla. Real brain bucket there. She's already paid for it. And another thing, I was watching the Man Bun News this morning.
You were watching what?
I was watching the Man Bun News this morning. That's Channel 9. And they reported that there's $8 billion in some kind of fraud in Illinois about with the immigrants or something, and they're going to try to find this money and get it back. And there's Chunky Monkey up there with his stupid smirk on his face talking about how this is such a great thing. Isn't this exactly what Doge is doing?
Yeah.
And they're all complaining about it. I just get so confused with this state of Illinois thing. You know, it's very confusing.
Yes. Well, it was about Medicaid for illegals. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on the show. We're going to have LaShawn Ford on. And I'll see if he's going to comply with the DEI rules that have been put in place in public schools.
DEI,
Because so far, they're not following along. They're still doing very, high pronouns and teachers that identify. I'm not a Mr. or a Miss. I'm a mix, an MX. Did you see that?
No, really. In which school district?
CPS school.
Well, yeah. CPS has got that. They got it bad.
Well, then they better not get federal funds if they're not going to follow the rules. I don't like to pay higher taxes, but those are the rules. So I pay them. I follow the rules because without rules, there's chaos. Let's go to Lawrence in Chicago. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, team. I agree with Charles Thomas that ABC 7 was drinking the Kool-Aid from the deep state FBI. I was the first person to arrive at January 6th at 10 a.m. in the morning with evidence of voter criminality from 2019 that I tipped off the FBI after the local Board of Elections, state police, Cook County State's Attorney would not look at it because the people that were involved were politically connected. So I figured that I would meet somebody on January 6th to talk about the corrupt voter rolls, to talk about the election criminality. But instead, they framed me as the advanced security eyes for the Proud Boys because the leader of the Proud Boys was not around. So that story...
So there was slander.
Pardon?
Was it... So they slandered you.
Well, beyond slandering me, they ruined my life because I was guilty immediately. But then the local politicians and everybody just followed that narrative that I was guilty till I was proven innocent. But I fought this to the bitter end because I knew I was innocent. And majority of the people around me knew I was innocent. But I had the deep state starting when President Obama left Chicago. He took the corruption from Chicago to Washington, D.C.
So Chuck Gowdy came after you pretty hard?
Chuck Gowdy came after me with all his might, to the point that I feel that he was fed wrong information by the by the deep state FBI and the DOJ ahead of time. And he thought that was factual, like, the old FBI, they're honest, and this FBI is not honest. So he came after me with a ton of all his might. And then...
did he stalk you in front of your house, or did he keep repeatedly call you, email you? What?
They stalked me in front of my house. The FBI sent me up to mock me. They wouldn't let me wear socks. They wouldn't let me wear shoes. They made me put shower shoes on, on December 1st, and cold day. So I look like a silly, on the video.
Yeah.
But all fairness, the 100%, the perk walk. And then all fairness, I think he realized that that hey, this is Ligas. He's a problem solver. He's been doing this for 30 years. There's no way he could have been involved with any of these groups. I was a lone wolf on January 6th because I was a problem solver. I ended up being the poster child for January 6th. But all fairness to Chuck and the I-team, I think they realized that they really screwed up, and they end up giving me a fairly fair and balanced story.
Well, there you go. That's good.
Yeah, well, that,
and Lawrence, sorry you had to go through all that, and we're up against the clock here, but thanks for sharing your story. That's good. I mean, if it ended well, and then President Trump.
Well, but I think a lot of people it hasn't ended well, and I think the wrong impression of January 6th has been given, that narrative that again this was worse than 9/11 and
how could they say
Pearl
that?
Harbor and all that and that was the narrative, and I think Chuck bought into that.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, doctors Economos, Gave Alice, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidiscipline practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930, 630-830-4930, or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
Ad paid for by RFA Cancellation. Attention timeshare owners. If you need to get rid of your timeshare for any reason, please listen to the following message. Getting out of a timeshare commitment is not easy, and it takes time. But we specialize in helping consumers legally get rid of their expensive timeshares forever. Can't get the vacation dates that work for you? Maybe you felt taken advantage of or forced into the timeshare? Maybe you just can't continue to shoulder those monthly payments any longer. If you need to eliminate your timeshare commitment, then you need to take down this number, 800-721-6919. We will safely and legally get rid of your timeshare payments forever, all with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't continue to let your timeshare be a financial burden to you and your loved ones. Call us now at 800-721-6919. The call is free. The consultation is free. Call 800-721-6919. That's 800-721-6919. Again, 800-721-6919.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Tony Dreyfus, founder and president of Metropolis Coffee Company and a proud new customer of Signature Bank. We're a 19-year-old specialty coffee roaster located in the heart of Chicago. Some of your favorite restaurants and cafes serve our coffee. As a small business manufacturer, we understand the importance of working with the right bank, and that's why we made the move to Signature Bank. We were tired of the impersonal service that our large bank had provided. A friend referred us to Signature Bank, and their team was on site to understand our operations firsthand. They provided us the working capital to continue our successful business operations and to fuel our ambitions for innovation and growth. We now have the flexibility to grow at our own pace. That personal touch, you can't find that at a large bank, but we found it at Signature, and we can't thank them enough.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560. The Answer.
Well, if you can hear the conversation we're having off air. Whew. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, Anita Padilla joins us. We're going to talk about the Epstein flight list that has not come out. She'll explain why. And, we'll find out. There's a Chicago mayor who tried to get her fired. Can't wait to find out who that was. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
6:31, 37 degrees and a windy day ahead. The Trump administration's mass firing of federal workers being blocked by a federal judge. Judge ruling yesterday the Office of Personnel Management had to rescind a memo that it sent to over 24 agencies over the firings. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky on his way to Washington, D.C. today, signing a deal with President Trump. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer met with the president at the White House yesterday, and while speaking with reporters, Trump said they'd be discussing the war between Russia and Ukraine, which Trump says he wants to end.
I think we're very well advanced on a deal, but we have not made a deal yet, so I don't like to talk about peacekeeping until we have a deal. I like to get things done.
Zelensky says the deal is preliminary and wants more security guarantees. The deaths of Academy Award-winning actor Gene Hackman and his wife are now being ruled suspicious this morning. Santa Fe County Sheriff Adin Mendoza saying foul play has not been ruled out.
We're not ruling it out.
What I did state was there was no obvious sign or indication of of foul play. There was no immediate sign of foul play. Haven't ruled that out yet. This is an investigation, so we're keeping everything on the table. I think the autopsy is going to tell us a lot.
Heckman and his wife were found dead in their Santa Fe, New Mexico home this week. Chicago Board of Education will keep 5 charter schools open. The board voting yesterday to keep 5 of the 7 Acero charter schools slated for closure open through the end of the 25-26 school year. Closing arguments expected today in the trial of a Plainfield landlord charged with the murder of a Palestinian-American boy in 2023. A man is accused of threatening to kill Lake County deputies. Authorities say deputies were enforcing a court-ordered eviction yesterday of a man living in a tent along Skokie Highway in unincorporated Lake Bluff. Christopher Hermanson refused to leave. He eventually cut a hole in a tarp and emerged with a hammer. Deputies then shot him with a beanbag shotgun, and he was taken into custody. U.S. Senators Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth are expected to reject a budget resolution put forth by their counterparts in the House. AM 560's Jim Talamonte has their reaction to the proposal.
Both Durbin and Duckworth voted expressed opposition to cuts proposed by the Trump administration. Illinois U.S. Rep. Roger Krishnamurthy, a fellow Democrat, opposed the House measure, saying it could put the U.S. at a disadvantage against the Chinese Communist Party.
The resolution includes $880 billion in cuts to programs that risk stalling the advancement of technologies crucial to our competition with the CCP.
Every House Democrat joined Krishnamurthy in voting no.
While we got to restore our fiscal house, these cuts to critical programs amount to the GOP's perverted version of DEI, devastating, extreme, and irresponsible.
President Donald Trump has urged both houses to extend tax cuts passed in 2017. I'm Jim Talamonte.
Northern Illinois University has accepted an invitation to join the Horizon League in basketball and most other sports except football. Northern Illinois has played 39 seasons in the MAC, the Mid-America Conference, over 2 stints, and they're leaving that conference. Blackhawks surrender 5 goals in the first period of a 7-5 loss to Vegas. Bulls take on Toronto tonight. Fighting Illini go for the upset when they visit number 13 Michigan at Chrysler Arena on Sunday. Michigan had a heart attack win against Rutgers last night. Cubs' Nico Horner will stay in America and rehab an injury when the Northsiders travel to Japan for the Tokyo Series on March 18. The news service of Fox Valley Coins in Naperville, easy to get to off I-88 and Route 59 in Naperville. Family-owned integrity since 1981, foxvalleycoins.com. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
The first weeks of the new Trump administration have been full speed ahead, making America great again.
This could only get better.
And on Tuesday, March 4th, President Trump will take a victory lap when he addresses Congress and the nation. And AM 560 is throwing a watch party.
They tell me it's very exciting.
Join us for dinner and President Trump's speech on March 4th in Rolling Meadows. Get your tickets at 560theanswer.com/watch. That's 560theanswer.com/watch. Sponsored in part by myvirago.com.
This is Hugh Hewitt for townhall.com. Approximately 11,000 homes and an unknown number of churches and structures were lost in the Palisades and Eaton fires in the Los Angeles city and counties this January. If the fires of 2018 are any guide, those who lost their homes are looking at a long and winding road to return to them, if ever. Governor Newsom has asked President Trump for $40 billion in relief fund. The President and the Secretary of the Interior, Doug Burgum, ought to say no to that and instead say half of the $40 billion amount requested. But a Congress that provides aid should also demand and express in detailed language a preemption of all state, regional, and local regulations governing the burn area of these fires. The legislation ought to vest sole land use authority over those areas in the Department of the Interior, Office of the Secretary of the Interior. It's an opportunity for Donald Trump that could make California golden again. I'm Hugh Hewitt.
You heard me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too with their 3-week quick start kit for only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF for Relief Factor.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or CVS.
6:38 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of True Green. We're back in the Miller's Yard. They use True Green. The lawn started looking like a golf course, and then PGA Tour golfers made it their favorite stop. Get a PGA Tour quality lawn for as little as $1 a day at TrueGreen.com. Exclusions apply. Outbound Kennedy, you're jammed up between Canfield and I-190 due to an earlier accident. Dan Ryan inbound already at 25, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. A lot of that due to an inbound earlier accident between 43rd and Roosevelt. As you travel in Zion, they're removing an accident out of your way. Lewis and Wadsworth, and in the Morgan Park neighborhood on the south side, an accident at 119th right before I-57. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Windy with clouds and sun and a high of 58. Breezy, a shower in spots this evening. Could be a flurry as well. Low 24. Currently 38. Your next news is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Good Friday morning. We waited. I kept checking in all day. This Epstein list, is it going to be released? And it was not. Instead, Attorney General Pam Bondi sent a letter to FBI Director Kash Patel instructing him to look into allegations that FBI agents are concealing documents related to the pedophile billionaire Jeffrey Epstein. The development came as the Justice Department released the first batch of documents revealing Epstein's alleged associates to conservative online influencers. Well, I wasn't one of those conservative online influencers, but the conservative online influencers who got it, it was a big nothing burger.
It was a big nothing burger. In fact, there was more information already in the public domain. In fact, some of the new information released yesterday had redactions in those documents that were not in the original release, a couple of 3 years ago. Right. So, huh? Well, but maybe there's something else to come. Keep in mind there's supposed to be more that's going to come out in the future. So I thought Pam Bondi really oversold this when she was, I think it was Fox News the night before. That
she was on with Jesse Waters, I think.
Yeah. And when it was released, it wasn't anything really to write home about.
Well, with more on this and other matters, Florida, let's welcome back to the program our good friend Anita Padilla, former anchor at Fox 32, now news director for Florida's Voice. You can follow them at flvoicenews.com. Good morning, Anita. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Amy and Charles. So good to speak with both of you this morning.
Yes.
How are you guys doing?
We miss you here in Chicago.
Yeah, we were just talking about you.
Just talking about you. In fact, you were the only person that could, on the morning shows, that could actually conduct an interview with a newsmaker. And that includes all of them. And you were the only one that could do that.
You want to know something funny? I got a phone call, or actually it was a text, and after previous phone calls, but I won't say which alderman. One of the aldermen texted me and said, Anita, good luck. When she heard that I was leaving, she wished me well, and she said, I have to tell you, you are a great reporter, but everybody is so scared to come on the show with you because they knew I would not throw softballs. Right. And that was a good thing, but, we had certain political figures that wouldn't come on after they had one round with me on television live. It's one thing to do, the reporting and tell the story, but when you're answering things live, and I've got you, and I just know this may not happen again, I'm going to hit you with my questions. But, they're uncomfortable questions, but they're questions that need to be asked, and they're the questions that the public wants. And so, it's your job as a journalist. You have to ask the tough questions, as uncomfortable as it may be for you. But I was always fair with them. In the commercial break, I did give them a heads up, or even the heads up before the day before that I was going to be tough with them. So they knew when they came on. But it's uncomfortable for sometimes when they have to answer the questions on live TV. But thanks, Charles. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, but we're paying their salaries. They should be ready for any questions. But some,
absolutely
cowards.
But the biggest problem is the news anchors in the morning. They don't do their jobs. They're not reporters. They're
not.
They're showbizzers.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the problem. They're all about, oh, hey, have a cup of coffee, join me. Let's talk about, how to make cookies, or they want to talk about what they want to do. They want to read the news, and then they want to do a little entertainment. They don't really want to get into the news, and that was something that I always loved, was the hard news, the tough stories. And I dug for those stories. And when I had a minute, it was like I was like a dog with a bone, You're not going to take that away from me. I'm going to, as you both were, as well on the streets. I know, because we were out there with you.
I know, competing against each other. Well, a dog looking for a bone. Everybody in America was probably just, unless your head's in the sand, the Jeffrey Epstein list. It never came out. And do you know what's next now?
Well, I think today at 8 o'clock, well, so in about 15 minutes, 8 o'clock Eastern time, she is supposed to be getting these documents from the Southern District of New York. Let's see what happens. But you're right, Charles. She oversold this on Fox News. She said they were coming, and they did not. And all of this, it was just handled so badly. They gave it to these podcasters, these conservatives, and instead of giving it to, traditional media, which I understand why they wanted to do that, but then they handed them nothing, and it looked like a big debacle. So the question is, then we start seeing this letter circulate on social media, and then it pretty much comes out that she was supposed to get these documents. And all the way up until the time they were handing out these folders, I don't understand why they didn't just say we're not going to get them. I don't know if they felt public pressure to do this, if the rollout was wrong. But if you're not going to get these documents from New York, then I wouldn't have done what they did. So I don't know what's going to happen. So today we understand at 8 o'clock Eastern time they're going to hopefully get these documents. But somebody's actually going to have to go up to the Southern District of New York,
right,
the office there, and try to figure out what's going on. Are these intentionally being withheld? Were there people that were let go that were supposed to be in charge of these documents because of the Doge work? I mean, we don't know.
Yeah, so and we don't know. We find out whether or not, they say he committed suicide, which I've never, ever believed that story. Is that any of that information going to be in the documents, or people that were on the flight log? Because they've already released some names of people who have been to the island.
Right. What they had in that folder was pretty much everything that's already been out on the internet. And what is interesting, though, is I didn't know this until yesterday, but apparently James Comey's daughter, Maureen Comey, works at that office there, and she was the lead prosecutor during the Epstein trials. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but, you hear all of this, who works there in that office? Who's in charge? But the more that there is, the longer the delay, the more suspicious the public becomes. And it's just, the rollout on that was just really poorly handled. And I think it's very embarrassing, actually, for President Trump and for his new Attorney General.
And the FBI. Speaking of announcements, Byron Donalds, congressman in Florida, had a big one the other day with Sean Hannity.
Well, look, Sean, after a lot of prayer, a lot of thoughts with my family and my friends, I'm here to announce my candidacy to be the next governor of the great state of Florida. And, Sean, we have a wonderful state. I got to Florida when I was 17 years old off of a Greyhound bus with just a trunk full of clothes. And over the rest of my time in Florida, I built a family. I built a career, 17 years in financial services. I joined the Tea Party movement, was in the conservative movement. I was able to serve 4 years in the state legislature, 4 years in Congress. And I think now is the time to now take the mantle and lead our state into the future. We have a great governor. Ron DeSantis has done a tremendous job for our state. But now the job is to keep the best state in the country as the best state in the country. And so that's going to be the mission at hand. And I'm excited to announce my candidacy with you tonight.
So what are Floridians saying about this possible gubernatorial candidate?
Well, it's really interesting because, Ron DeSantis he's very, very popular down here in Florida. But a lot of the work that Ron DeSantis has done has been supported by a great, group of conservative lawmakers who push that agenda too. However, what's going to happen here, we don't know. And the feel here is anytime you see something about Byron Donalds, there's support. There's a tremendous amount of support. People really like him. There was a poll recently, and he just blew all of the other potential candidates away. Casey DeSantis was not on that poll, though.
Oh, she wasn't?
But he did blow all of. No, she wasn't on that poll. But he had the support of. He has the endorsement even before he announced from President Donald Trump telling him run, Byron, run, and he hadn't even announced yet. So that's what was really interesting. And then less than a week later, Donalds goes on Fox News and makes that announcement that you just listened to, which is a little unusual, too, because oftentimes when candidates make their announcement, they gather their supporters, they gather their people, their family, and they make it publicly. They don't usually announce it on a television news show or with someone like Sean Hannity. Don't know why. Maybe he felt he was going to get the biggest audience there. I don't know. But it's interesting because you wonder if that was rushed. And the reason I say that is because there were hints and there were conversations and whispers that Casey DeSantis might run, although the governor has never said that. So people were wondering, is she not? And then when Donald Trump had made the endorsement for Byron Donalds, DeSantis was asked about it, and he didn't say anything negative, but it was clear that he was leaning towards not giving his full endorsement. It was interesting. So the speculation is that Casey DeSantis is going to do something, and she's been making some appearances too.
Oh.
So people were thinking maybe she's going to do something. It's almost like the soft gearing up.
Right.
So today, about an hour ago, they announced that she and Ron DeSantis, and they don't usually do this. When we get the press releases that the governor is going to make an appearance, usually with the first lady, it's something to do with kids or cancer. But right now, everything, you're on high alert. So we got a press release just about an hour ago that he and she are going to be holding a press conference in Miami today at 10 o'clock.
About what? Does it say in the press release?
Well, it says the people who are going to be there are the governor, the first lady, his lieutenant governor, and the Florida International University interim president. So maybe he's making an announcement about that, but clearly the good stuff comes during the Q&A after the press conference when you got to wonder, and everybody's going to be looking at the body language.
If he says or she says she's going to run, what's the political Richter scale say about that? Doesn't that divide the party? And doesn't
just like when DeSantis ran against Trump, it divided the party.
But what does it mean for 28 and DeSantis? If he splits the party in Florida by supporting his wife against Donald, who's been endorsed by the president. The president does not like to lose, ever.
He does not. No, right. And as you said, they're still trying to. I feel like that they say everything's great between DeSantis and Trump, but there's always that rift, and Donald Trump does not forget.
No,
he does not forget.
Nope.
If you no. So it is going to be interesting what's going to happen. It's going to. People are kind of, I think, waiting to see who they want to stand by. But there's already a lot of people coming out publicly saying, they're going to endorse him here. Not as many as I would have thought on Donald's, but. He is the first one to jump into the Republican race for governor, which the primary is in August of 2027, and then the general election will be in November of 2027 here. But if Casey DeSantis decides to run, it definitely is going to create a rift because people have to pick sides, and nobody wants to be caught between the two candidates when they want to get stuff done in the legislature. They want things and they want favors from the governor, but they also don't want to upset President Trump because he's got this big agenda that he's trying to do, and no one wants to cross him, certainly.
Well, all right. Before we let you go, I have to know, you were on a podcast recently. You know how much I love podcasts. I'm kidding. And you talked about there was a Chicago mayor who tried to get you fired, and I was trying to guess. Was it Rahm Emanuel? Was it?
No, it was Lori Lightfoot.
Really?
Get out of here.
It was Lori Lightfoot. Remember when the bridges went up?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Went up during the George Floyd protest.
Oh, yeah.
And I was running a Facebook Live with State Rep LaShawn Ford. I also had on Alderman Raymond Lopez. We had Mark Carter, one of the community activists. And we also had a political radio host from WVON, and we were all discussing what happened. And I had sources who were telling me that she directed those bridges to go up, although she denied that. She tried to put it off on David Brown because he was the brand new guy there. But I was, I had my sources were right there in the room when she made the call to raise those bridges because he didn't know what to do. So they raised the bridges, and of course we all know what happened to the neighborhoods. They got destroyed. And, there was a lot of anger about that. So we were doing a Facebook Live, and her office called me during the middle of my Facebook Live because they wanted to shut that down. And we were in the middle of talking, and they were very nice on the phone because I had my other phone with me. I answered, and it was a very, oh, hi, Anita, we'd love to talk with you. But I said, all right, fine, I'll end my Facebook Live. I ended the Facebook Live and then went back to the phone call with the mayor's office, and they started yelling at me. And I said, no, you're not going to sit there and pull this on me. And I warned my boss at the time, hey, you're going to get a phone call from the mayor's office. Oh, no, yeah, they wanted me gone. And he called me. He's like, do you have sources? Do you have a credible, you have more than one? I said, I have 3 or 4 sources that are telling me she did this. And they're legit sources, very high up sources. Yes, she did this. And he's like, all right. My news director backed me. But
good for you. That's rare.
Yeah, I mean, it is very...
Well, I mean, she is a liar because Census Cowboy, she said, I didn't pay him anything, and I found a contract that Census Cowboy sent me that he gets $5,000 to ride that horse and go through the neighborhood to convince people to sign up for the census.
Well,
so she's been caught in a few lies, so I'm glad...
Yeah,
your boss backed you.
It's just common sense. How does she not own it anyway? She's the mayor.
Right, she's the mayor.
She's the mayor.
So what? She makes these decisions, then she'd try to, but I don't want anybody to know about it. Well, guess what, honey? It doesn't work that way. So,
right.
All right, Anita, we're going to have to leave it there for today. Always love catching up with you. You can follow her on Twitter at Anita Padilla 32, former anchor at Fox 32, now news director at Florida's Voice FLVoiceNews.com is where you can find her work. And Anita, have a blessed day. Love you.
Yeah, and you guys, both of you, have a great weekend. Stay safe.
You too. Bye now.
And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Aristotle was a Greek philosopher who helped to lay the groundwork for Western philosophy.
The Aristotle bedroom at Penny Mustard is where you can lay down after a long day of work.
Aristotle, the philosopher, was diverse in his studies of physics, zoology, anatomy, astronomy, poetry, and more.
The Aristotle bedroom is also diverse. It coordinates with any decor.
People who met Aristotle considered him to be the smartest man in the world.
People who buy the Aristotle bedroom are smart, too, because it's a versatile bedroom that seamlessly blends with existing furniture.
American made with solid wood, forever tight bed brackets, and lots of underbed storage.
You won't believe how deep these drawers are.
Just think of all the togas you can store down there.
The Aristotle bedroom, featuring a queen bed with underbed storage, 9-drawer dresser, mirror, and 3-drawer nightstand, starting at $10,749 at Penny Mustard.
7 locations throughout Chicagoland.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Salem News Channel is America's fastest growing conservative TV network.
It's an absolute crazy day.
Home to the largest lineup of free speech champions anywhere, delivering in-depth insight and unapologetic opinion on today's biggest news stories.
Americans aren't going to put up with this anymore.
SNC brings you the news that matters, told with integrity and clarity. Watch Salem News Channel free 24/7 on your television. Stream now on Samsung TV Plus, channel 1177.
Will your current financial plan weather any storm? It's crucial to have a strategy that can endure and grow. BestGen Wealth Partners can help you survive and thrive in retirement. Don't leave your financial future to chance. Visit GetRetiredStayRetired.com.
Advisory services offered through BestGen Advisors, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Securities offered through Private Client Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC. Private Client Services and BestGen Advisors, LLC are unaffiliated entities. Any information discussed does not constitute investment advice. BestGen Advisors and Private Client Services do not offer tax legal advice.
AM 560, The Answer.
Built that bridge back in 2 days. Look at what he can do. Oh, hi. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, LaShawn Ford's going to join us. Oh, yeah. We have a lot to get to with him. But first, let's head into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
A windy day here in the Chicago area with very gusty winds on the way for the afternoon. The school board votes to keep 5 of 7 Acero charter schools open. An ex-Navy sailor pleads guilty to plotting an attack on Naval Station Great Lakes. A slow start dooms the Blackhawks. The Bulls host the Raptors, and Northwestern will host Iowa. WIND Chicago News Time is 7 o'clock.
A new era. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. Ukraine's President Zelensky will be back at the White House this morning for the first time since President Trump's return to office. They're expected to sign an agreement to share Ukraine's natural resources.
The meeting between President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky would mark a shift in the two leaders' relationship after a tense few weeks. The president notably calling Zelensky a dictator without elections. The framework would give the U.S. access to the revenues from Ukraine's vast reserves of minerals. Ukraine's resources include titanium, lithium, and nickel. The president says the minerals deal is beneficial for Ukraine and the American people, whom in his view will now be compensated for the military and financial aid the U.S. has given Ukraine.
Fox's Madeline Rivera in D.C. President Zelensky has said he wants security guarantees from the U.S. as part of a deal. After his meeting with President Trump yesterday, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer tells Fox the administrations are discussing more cooperation,
particularly on things like tech and AI.
And new cancer-fighting technology.
This idea of a moonshot, of whether together we could go for something what might bring about a cancer cure.
China's government accuses the Trump administration of blackmail with its new tariffs on Chinese imports.
The president says the tariff increase is in response to a continued flow of fentanyl from China into the United States. It's on top of a 10% duty levied on February the 4th. China's foreign ministry maintains that Washington is using the fentanyl crisis as an excuse to put tariff pressure on the country. Secretary of State Marco Rubio telling Fox News China may be deliberately flooding America with fentanyl. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
A federal judge in San Francisco says Trump administration memos to federal agencies ordering mass firings are likely illegal and should be rescinded, but Judge William Alsup says he does not have the power to stop federal agencies from independently firing people. America's listening to Fox News.
.702, 37 degrees. On AM 560, good morning. I'm Mike Scott. The National Weather Service is telling us gusty winds will blow at about 45 miles an hour. A wind advisory is in effect for much of the day. Chicago Board of Education is voting to keep 5 charter schools open, at least for the next school year. The board voting yesterday to keep 5 of the 7 Acero charter schools slated for closure open through the end of the 2025-26 school year.
We have made a pledge to children and to families, and I feel that we have an obligation to maintain that pledge.
The schools would then be incorporated into CPS the following year. Legislation has been introduced in an effort to go after rogue towing companies in Illinois. Illinois motorists, especially here in Chicago, may find that good news. Here's AM 560's Kevin Bessler in Springfield.
Illinois motorists, especially in the Chicago area, have complained about tow companies that show up at the scene of a crash and then hold cars and belongings hostage for exorbitant fees.
One critical provision would ban tow companies from holding onto personal property left behind in vehicles that includes your prescription medication, car seats, and other necessities. And this shouldn't be a controversial change.
That is the bill's sponsor, State Senator Selena Villanueva. The legislation also establishes registration requirements for towing companies and tasks the Illinois Commerce Commission with oversight duties and the imposition of penalties for violating towing companies. The measure has been assigned to the Senate Transportation Committee for consideration. I'm Kevin Bessler.
An 84-year-old Montgomery man who was once a Boy Scouts of America youth leader has been accused of sexually assaulting at least 5 children over about a 15-year period. Michael Ferris has been charged with 23 counts of criminal sexual assault and 67 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse. Kane County State's Attorney's Office and Montgomery Police confirming that Ferris was taken into custody Wednesday without incident. DuPage County Sheriff James Mendrick will apparently be running for governor of Illinois. Mendrick announcing a bid yesterday on Facebook. He served as DuPage County Sheriff since 2018. The Blackhawks lost to the Knights 7-5. Bulls take on Toronto tonight. College hoops in the Big Ten. Northwestern will go for their 3rd win in a row when they host Iowa tonight. The news service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
President Trump is moving at lightning speed.
Billions of dollars in waste, fraud, and abuse.
Executive orders, new policies, promises kept. It's hard to keep up until now. Subscribe to the Trump Report. This email brings you daily highlights from the Oval Office right to your inbox 5 days a week.
The golden age of America begins right now.
It'll help you follow President Trump at the speed of Trump.
Sign up today at 560theanswer.com/Trump.
Are you feeling trapped by a timeshare you barely use? With maintenance fees piling up, calls from creditors, and the stress of mounting interest, it's time to break free. At RFA Cancellation, they specialize in legally canceling timeshares. If you've received a maintenance fee bill and don't know what to do, you're not alone. Over 2,000 people hired RFA Cancellation last year, and they're no longer paying those fees this year. Imagine starting 2025 free from collections, daily calls, and endless bills. Whether your timeshare is sitting unused or you're overwhelmed by unexpected costs, they're here to help. Call RFA Cancellation today at 800-721-6919. That's 800-721-6919. Their friendly experts will guide you through every step ensuring a smooth and stress-free process. Don't let another year go by. Get in touch and take the first step toward freedom. RFA Cancellation, your path to financial relief.
It's time to throw your overpriced big wireless contract overboard. With a qualifying plan, you can choose an iPhone 14 or a Samsung Galaxy for $0. Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team will make the switch in as little as 10 minutes. No hassle, no gimmicks, just honest-to-goodness wireless price right. Dial pound 250, you say the keywords Pure Talk, claim your new iPhone or Galaxy with a qualifying purchase from Pure Talk, which is America's wireless company. Visit puretalk.com for details.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
While Dennis Prager is recuperating, we know you miss your daily dose of Dennis. That's why Pragertopia is giving you a special gift. Right now, Pragertopia members can hear the best 2 hours of Dennis's favorite segments from as far back as 2010. On Monday, you can hear the Happiness Hour.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what I'm about.
Tuesday is Celebrity Guest Day.
Donald Trump Jr. is in studio with me.
On Wednesday, it's the Male-Female Hour.
I really do wish there were a way to ascertain the number of marriages that this hour has helped.
Thursday, the Ultimate Issues Hour.
Not having ultimate issues clarity is like having a map, but you don't know where you're going.
And Friday is Open Lines.
Feel free to ask me anything about me, about you, about life.
So if you're missing your daily dose of Dennis, go to Pragertopia.com and hear all your favorite segments, along with lectures, celebrity interviews, his famous Torah teachings, and more. Get your daily dose of Dennis at Pragertopia.com. Pragertopia.com.
7:08 Team Hotberg Traffic Center time. Beach Park, Wadsworth Road and Green Bay Road report of an accident. Tri-State, your entrance ramp northbound on 294. Your on-ramp from southbound I-57 remains shut down with an overturned semi. Dan Ryan, you've got a utility truck on fire. 2 right lanes are blocked. It's on the outbound side right now between 71st and 75th. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
A wind advisory today. Clouds and sun. Windy and the high today at 58. Clouds and breezy. Showers around this evening. Flurries late tonight. Low 24. Partly sunny, breezy, cold day tomorrow. And the high at 31. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
38 at O'Hare. Next news at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
All eyes will be on D.C. next Wednesday when our mayor, Brandon Johnson, has to testify before a House committee about being a sanctuary city and what are the beautiful benefits of being a sanctuary city. Good morning, Amy Jacobson here. Charles Thomas is in for Dan Proft. Thanks for coming in, partner.
I cannot wait to hear and see Brandon Johnson in Washington, D.C., basically wearing the jacket.
Yeah, well, he's prepared. Guess what he said he's doing? He's done his homework.
I'm going to be prepared to defend working people in this city and challenge Congress to do their job. They could pass laws right now. Instead of picking fights right now, we should be finding solutions.
Oh, really? That's what we're doing?
He, of the 6.6% approval rating,
yes,
is going to lecture the United States of America about what it should be doing vis-a-vis the immigration situation in this country.
And you know who he's consulting? He's texting back and forth with former Mayor Lightfoot and with Arnie Duncan just to prepare, what he needs to do. Don't lose your cool. Mm-hmm. And he's also consulting the man above.
Jesus.
Yeah. He's consulting the big guy, Jesus.
Yeah. Well, he's good. He's good. That's some consult there. You need to always check in.
Exactly.
Before you do something as ambitious. Is that the word?
Yeah.
As he is undertaking in Washington next week. It's going to be choice.
With more on that, and a man whose lawmakers are trying to get him removed or pass a state law that could give people the power to remove him as mayor is LaShawn Ford. He's Illinois State Rep for the 8th District. Good friend of the show. Good morning, LaShawn. How are you?
Amy, good morning, Amy and Charles.
Good morning, LaShawn. How are you, my friend?
Good.
Good. So a lot of people always come up and ask me, why can't your mayor be recalled? I mean, I don't know if that happens to you, Charles, but people say, if I'm traveling or something, like, your mayor is so bad, why can't you recall him? So tell us why we can't.
Well, the state law doesn't allow for the citizens to recall the mayor of the city of Chicago. It would take a little tweaking of the Illinois law to allow for Chicago voters to have that power.
Okay, so how are you involved in this?
Well, my goal, and it's been my goal since 2015, to give the power back to the people to allow them to recall the mayor of the city of Chicago if they lose trust in the mayor. They shouldn't have to wait 4 years to have an election if they find it necessary that they need to recall because of the loss of trust and transparency, and maybe the city is just going in the wrong direction that may impact the city for decades to come. The city should have the power to recall. And I've tried to do it since 2015. This year, it's been very, I think, more pertinent to people that we have the power because of the current mayor. My intention then was to, when Laquan McDonald was assassinated by a Chicago policeman, the people asked for it then. And, being a politician that listens to the people, I filed it and tried to implement the recall at the time, but it never got called by Springfield. And I've been doing it over and over and over, and we still haven't called it.
But shouldn't there be a cause? Shouldn't you have to show cause? I mean, people elected Brandon Johnson for a 4-year term, and okay, it's not going very well. But shouldn't voters be held accountable for what they did? And shouldn't there be a cause if he commits a crime? If he is, that's the one that comes to mind immediately.
Well, that would be one reason to cause if it commits a crime that you can recall. But guess what? If that happened in Chicago, you still couldn't do it, simply because the state does not allow it. So even if a mayor of the city of Chicago is convicted of a crime, you still would not be able to recall that person. Now, there's a chance that the city council could do a impeachment. That's possible, an impeachment by the council.
Well, how is that going to work?
Recall. Right. That means, like we did, and you all remember, Charles and Amy, when we impeached Blagojevich. I think Charles covered that.
Sure.
During the time when we impeached Blagojevich. Madigan was the speaker, and we impeached him when he got indicted.
So the city council could impeach, if that's the word, Brandon Johnson, but there's no separate process to remove him by recall.
That's right.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people regret that who voted for Brandon now regret it. because
you think with 6.6% approval rate, and 80% have an unfavorable opinion of the mayor, and I don't think I've ever seen numbers this bad for a sitting public official in any elected office. But
well, I've read that there has never been a lower rating, but still, I would tell you, as a taxpayer of this city, I still, no matter what, whether he's going to be reelected or not, it's in our best interest to hope that he does well. I mean, we need him to do well. I mean, it all depends. Our future depends on him doing well, whether we like it or not. The bond ratings, street crime, better schools, all of that. And so, I'm hopeful that things will turn around.
I wanted to ask you about the governor delivered his State of the State, his budget address last week, basically calling Trump a Nazi and all of the 77 million Americans who voted for him Nazis. What did you make of his speech?
I am one that I try not to do name calling, and my mother often says, if you dig one ditch, you better dig two. So I try not to talk about people regardless to what situation I'm in. But, I just think that we're early in this Trump administration. He won. Elections have consequences. Whether you voted for him or not, you may like what he's doing. You may not like what he's doing. But one thing for sure, you have to figure out how to work with this president, whether you're going to fight him or you're going to get your troops ready to deal with what's coming. But nevertheless, I don't know how my fighting with the president all the time will help me as a state representative.
It's kind of early, I think, that for J.B. Pritzker to go out here like that. I actually looked at what just news reports about Josh Shapiro in Pennsylvania, about Andy Beshears in Kentucky, and even Gavin Newsom in California, just to see what the news has been about those guys. And they're staying away, believe it or not, remarkably, from Donald Trump right now, because Trump is in his honeymoon, if you will. He's got all this momentum going, and JB, it's like he's having breakfast early so he can have it again before lunch. And
right.
And I don't mean anything by that, JB, but you know what I mean?
He's obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Every press conference he mentions him for something or another, and it's really, and this whole DEI, I wanted to get to this because your colleague, State Rep Blaine Willauer, from the 110th District. He's a Republican. He was on the House floor the other day talking about DEI. And are you going to comply?
The President Trump, has signed an executive order banning DEI in our schools, putting an end to the toxic policies that have divided our classrooms for too long. But here in Illinois, the State Board of Education has chosen to defy that order. They've chosen to cling to an ideology that is failing our students. Instead of focusing on excellence in education, we've decided to focus on this idea of equity, where the government comes in and tries to artificially level the playing field. The results are absolutely dismal. We're spending more money than ever on education, but 3 out of 10 kids in our state can't read at grade level. And when you
that is so true. And then you have the CTU on their knees or actually begging for more money from Mayor Johnson in the city of Chicago, and the grades aren't there to prove all of this. But are you going to follow Trump's DEI orders?
I chair higher appropriations, and I chair, my committee is almost a $4 billion committee appropriation for all our public universities and community colleges. And DEI is the end of DEI is going to hurt public universities. It's going to hurt city colleges. It's going to hurt the workforce, irregardless to what race it's going to impact. It's going to change the way we do business at our universities, at our workplace.
Well, how? How is it going to change?
Because there are certain programs that are dependent on the funds from DEI-funded programs. And so those programs would have to be shut down, and those jobs would be lost. And whether you like it or not, things are going to change. And being an African-American man, I've seen how challenges have impacted my life, and we keep pushing on. But it is going to impact. So Will Howard sounds great. He's a great orator. He sounded like music. But I'm going to tell you, there has to be a reality that we all recognize that there will be some casualties with the change. And we can't ignore
consequences.
that.
I mean,
right.
But do you think DEI is still needed?
I think DEI is still needed in some way. There's no way to just go into and let me tell you, here, I'm a black man again, I'm telling you, and black people would tell you DEI is not needed. You just don't unplug a situation without a plan and a strategy. You can, but there will be consequences.
Can I ask you something? When do you think it's DEI, a program like DEI or affirmative action will end? When is that day that it's going to end? That we're going to have diversity, equity, and inclusion, and it's going to be organic in America?
I know. That's what we need.
But is that day going to come? When is it going to come? And when do you stop? When do you stop?
Charles, that's why I said, regardless to what, he's the president. Elections have consequences, and guess what? We have to push on, and we're going to have to force our way into rooms, even just like we did during the civil rights movement. We have to get in those rooms.
But we're in the room. I mean, the civil rights movement was about the law, about the statutes that stopped me for a while. I grew up in a former slave state in the South. And my father, oh my God, and his father, I mean, they were limited statutorily. Now we're talking about some esoteric racism, systemic racism kind of thing. Is it ever going to stop? When is the day going to be when we don't need DEI? Can you answer that question?
Yeah, I can. I think that when we all see people and see their talents.
Do you know a date that's going to be? At what point are we going to do that? I mean,
I can't.
I just feel like everyone's trying to pit white people against black people against. Yeah. And I tell you, as a coach, they all get along. No one. You got black, you got Hispanic. I'll have a team that there's not even a white person on it. They're not. There's not systemic racism.
And not only
they don't even talk about that. They joke around.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt.
The thing is that
automatic.
But who's committing the racism? Who has privilege in the society now? I read a statistic, and I will say it, that Indian Americans right now have the highest per household income in the United States of America. Not white people, but Indian Americans. Are they privileged? Is there something called Indian American privilege now? I mean, at what point? But I mean, and
they're hardworking.
And then white people will not be a majority. They say by 2040, certainly not by 2050. So people of color are going to be the majority in the country. So at what point?
So is that the point when DEI is not needed anymore?
Is that the point? I don't know.
Look, we're still saying in 2025, the first black, the first woman, the first Asian.
No. I think people are saying that, but is it valid? Do we need to be saying that at this point?
Yeah.
The first black to be president.
We already
first
had that.
Black to be vice president.
Check that off the list.
The first black person in space. I mean, at what point do we stop even saying that? I mean, that stuff.
We got to celebrate it.
But the first black to be the chairman of the board of I don't know, or Walgreens, huh? I mean,
it's a great celebration. If this organization
American
has been
Express,
around 100 years, and they've never had a woman.
To do what?
Never had to lead that organization.
Walgreens, yes, it was. Black women led Walgreens.
You just brought up Walgreens as an example.
I know, but I mean, I'm saying that at what point does that stop, or does this go on for perpetuity? I know the Democrat Party would love that to happen because they make their hay that way by keeping black folks, afraid of racism to go vote for them. I get that, because they used 100 years ago they were doing it to white people.
No, I think that the Republicans and blacks that think that we don't need to recognize that certain groups are making gains, they will say you pull yourself up by your bootstraps where there are none. There is a celebration when we have diversity in places. And white women should recognize and side with black people, because white women were not respected like black men. We are in the same boat. It's the white mans that have run the world, not black men.
Now, white people right now in the world make up about 15% of the world's population. White people, Europeans, white people, right?
Right.
Yeah, but there's the world is changing. My point is the world is changing, and we have to change with the world, and we can't just focus. Particularly black people can't just focus on the evil white man, because
you heard me, Charles. I agree with you.
We can't do it. I mean, it's a different world out here, and we got to compete at some point.
All right, LaShawn Forbes, we have to leave it there for today. Right. Illinois State Rep, 8th District, thank you so much. You can follow him on Twitter at JusticeForAll44. That's his Twitter handle. Or X handle, excuse me. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
President Trump has made some pretty amazing claims since he's taken his seat as president. He's delivering on what he promised. On Inauguration Day, Trump's very first declaration was,
"The golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish."
Consider this. Since the election, gold has shot up hundreds of dollars per ounce, shattering all-time record highs. Fox Valley Coins does not pretend to know the future, but they do know that if you're buying or selling gold or silver, they are the place to do it. These are some of the top reasons people choose a dealer. You want a national dealer with a local presence you can deal with face-to-face. You want a large selection, the best prices, and great service. You want to walk in with cash and walk out with the best product. You want to deal with legacy dealers with integrity. Whether buying or selling or just one valuation, Fox Valley Coins is your answer for choosing a dealer. Visit Fox Valley Coins, 1 light north of I-88 on Route 59 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. FoxValleyCoins.com. Family-owned integrity since 1981.
In the beginning, God created. Now it's your turn. You're a creator, inspired to design and craft incredible works of art and innovation. But nothing halts inspiration faster than not having the materials you need to bring your vision to life. K&S Precision Metals understands the power of creation. So they provide the materials to help you make your masterpiece. From brass, aluminum, copper, and stainless steel tubing to wire, rod, sheets, and foil, their vast selection of pure, high-quality metals is designed to meet your needs from start to finish. No lead, no fillers. Just materials you can trust to elevate your project. Whether you're a professional or hobbyist, their products are trusted by the medical and movie industries and creators like you, providing high-quality metals to a world of endless possibilities. K&S Precision Metals has been family-owned and operated in Chicago for 78 years. Most orders ship within a day, so you can get back to creating faster. Order directly at ksmetals.com. That's ksmetals.com. Our materials, your creations.
Business owners, now's the time for your business to make the move to a locally owned business bank. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you know that you don't have to look far. Signature Bank was founded in Chicago with a simple mission to help companies like yours grow, succeed, and thrive. Their decisions are made locally by a terrific team that knows your name, cares about your business, and invests in your success. That's why Signature Bank is my bank. I'm a customer. As business owners, they knew that local family-owned businesses were not not getting the help they needed or deserved. So I invite you to reach out to my friends at Signature Bank today. Write the number down. Remember this phone number, Signature Bank, 773-467-5630, and learn all about this great bank, 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right. Lots of reaction to that interview with LaShawn Ford. And we'll take those phone calls during Open Mic Friday. But coming up next, we got to check in with townhall.com's Dustin Grage. He's been on before. You're going to love him, Charles. Trust me.
Okay.
And then Kamala's back campaigning. And it's worse than you thought.
Kamala la la.
La 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 la. Kamama la la la. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
39 degrees. Skies are gray for the moment. Trump administration firing some weather forecasters. On Thursday, the administration sent termination letters to probationary employees at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, some from the National Weather Service. Judges ruled that the Trump administration's mass firings of federal workers are illegal and should end, according to that U.S. District Court judge. Yesterday's ruling does not reinstate workers who are already dismissed. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is in Washington today, meeting with President Trump and signing a deal on sharing Ukrainian mineral resources. The president saying progress is being made to end the Russia-Ukraine war, speaking at a joint news conference with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer yesterday. Trump said the groundwork is being laid.
As I discussed with Prime Minister Starmer, the next step we're making is toward a very achievable ceasefire. We hope that can happen quickly.
Michigan Senator Elise Slotkin is being picked to deliver the Democrat response to President Trump's congressional address. Slotkin says she's looking forward to speaking directly to the American people. The Milwaukee Admirals, minor league hockey team, pretty good. They're going to have a little fun tonight. They're also trying to set a world record. The team will be changing its name to the Milwaukee Cowbells in honor of the 25th anniversary of that famous SNL skit.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
The record they will be trying to set is the most cowbells rung at one time. The world record was set at Mississippi State University with over 5,700 cowbells rung in 2003. The Admirals, or the Cowbells, if you will attempt to break that record as the first 6,000 fans will get a cowbell when they enter the gates tonight. Chicago sports, Blackhawks surrender 5 in the first of a 7-5 loss to Vegas. The Bulls take on Toronto tonight. Northwestern will go for their third in a row. In the Big Ten in hoops when they host Iowa at Welsh Ryan tonight. Tomorrow, Loyola visits St. Louis. On Sunday, Bradley will host Northern Iowa, and UIC welcomes Valparaiso. On Sunday, the Fighting Illini go for the upset when they visit number 13 Michigan, who barely survived. Got a last-second tray to win their game with Rutgers last night. The news, a service of Turnkey.pro. Start the new year right. Receive unlimited help desk support, firewall router, unlimited backup and recovery, and antivirus protection. Plus, new hardware for one low monthly investment. Visit turnkey.pro. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Hugh Hewitt sees movement in the war in Ukraine.
President Trump has called both Putin of Russia and President Zelensky of Ukraine. Now, how do we get out of this? There's got to be a way for both sides to claim that they won something. For Putin not to lose face, and for Zelensky not to lose his country.
The Hugh Hewitt Show, afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Who should control the future of artificial intelligence? Washington or Springfield? If you're interested in learning more about one of the most talked about current topics, mark your calendar for Saturday, March 15th to attend an insightful presentation on the Supreme Court's decision and its implications for bioethics. This talk will be presented by the distinguished Clark Forsyth, prestigious author, professor, and senior counsel at Americans United for Life. Clark has been a co-counsel for parties in 3 U.S. Supreme Court cases and has argued cases before federal and state appellate courts. He has also testified before Congress and state legislatures and is the author of 3 books on law and bioethics, including Abuse of Discretion, The Inside Story of Roe v. Wade. Clark has been published in the Wall Street Journal, Washington Times, Newsweek, and many other publications. The Sag Bridge Mission Society proudly presents Clark Forsyth, J.D., March 15th at 7 p.m. at Sag Hall, 10600 Archer in Lamont. No charge for admission. Seating is limited. Register now at sagbridgemissonsociety.org. That's sagbridgemissonsociety.org.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or CVS.
7:38 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. A service of Valdecas Windows for the discerning homeowner looking for high-quality and professional-level window replacement service. Contact Valdecas Windows, your award-winning Platinum Elite Pella-certified contractor, Valdecas.com. The Kennedy, not too bad. 38 minutes O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Stevenson at 47 from 355 into Lakeshore Drive. Outbound Dan Ryan, a utility truck fire. 2 right lanes are blocked outbound between the Skyway and 75th. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. A windy day ahead, clouds and sun, and a high of 58. 38 right now. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
All right, good Friday morning. Amy Jacobson here. Charles Thomas in for Dan Proft today.
Good morning.
Always moving and shaking. And any of you want to respond to our interview with State Rep LaShawn Ford, we have Open Mic Friday that begins at 8:35. So please feel free to call in. And it's just that race hustling. When is it going to stop?
That's one of my favorite times of the week. And that race stuff, I mean, that is... the Democrats, they know how to do it. They know how to use it. They used it 100 years ago with white sharecroppers down south, and now they're using with black people living in cities. And the race
what about
game,
the LGBTQ community?
Yeah.
Are they trying to own them too?
Well, they do, but they're not that many of them. And but they can win the cities and states like Illinois and New York and by using black voters and manipulating them with race. That's what they do, and they do it very well. Got to give it to them. But it's a game that a lot of us and more of us are seeing right through. We don't want to play the race game anymore. Let's do something else.
Let's move on. Yep. Let's grow the country. Oh, we could grow together in harmony.
Yeah.
Kidding.
Well, you know,
especially when we have people like Governor Pritzker calling us Nazis because we voted for Trump.
Yeah.
I love it. Please run. Please run for president in 2028. I beg you.
He's got the money to do it.
Oh,
and I think but I think he's pretty much cutting his own, writing his own death warrant now he needs to STFU. Right now, he needs to STFU and wait to let Trump make a misstep, then go for him. Right now, Trump is rolling.
Yeah.
He's rolling. He's got momentum. Get out of the way. Jelly Belly, maybe he can't. I mean, he's got a big profile.
Maybe this is his way to make, he's trying to catapult his career. He's going on CNN all the time, MSNBC. It's constant.
Have a donut and let it go, man.
Okay. All right, let's welcome back to our program Dustin Grage. You can find him at Grage Dustin, GrageDustin. That's how you can follow him on X. He's a columnist for townhall.com, and there was a big announcement made this week that Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, he's not going to run for the U.S. Senate seat. Tell us why, Dustin.
Yeah, so I mean, just unpacking, there's a lot to this backstory, and it starts actually back when Walz lost the election. Almost immediately after the election, the Star Tribune, our liberal outlet in Minnesota, ran a hit piece on Peggy Flanagan. We come to find out that this hit piece was done because Walz's staff had actually leaked information to them. They wanted to kind of bury her out of the gate. And what happened, now that we found out, is that she made preparations ahead of time that if he were to have won, she was presuming the role of governor behind the scenes. And if she had lost, she was preserving an opportunity to go run for U.S. Senate.
Dustin, let me interrupt you real quick. Tell us, we're in, our audience is mostly in the Chicago area. Who is Peggy Flanagan?
So Peggy Flanagan is the lieutenant governor of Tim Walz. So that's been his running mate the last 2 election cycles.
And he stabbed her in the back.
Yes. Both ways, I suppose. But yes, now they're kind of having a civil war right now with the Minnesota Democrats. And it's a beautiful thing if you're a Minnesota Republican who actually wants to take back the state for the first time in almost a decade and a half.
Weren't your lawmakers hiding from something? Your Democratic lawmakers? Or do I have the wrong state?
Well, they're always definitely hiding from something. I know and I know we were talking about race a little bit earlier, but the state legislature is currently in a tie. But we actually just elected, after a holdout for almost 45 days of not showing up to work for the Democrats,
right.
We won our holdout and elected our first the first black speaker in Minnesota history, happened to have been a Republican. And due to that holdout, we used that talking point against the Democrats. They did not like that. They were blocking the first black speaker, and it was not working well for them in the local media outlets. But also in that agreement to make them come back to work, we were able to agree on a fraud committee majority, the first fraud committee of its kind. And so far, they've already found another $250 million in fraud uncovered since that time. So they're always trying to hide something, but we're doing a good job at picking up on it for sure.
Now, I know that you commented on Doge and how they're getting rid of, the email that was sent, and you had a great message for your Senator Tina Smith, who has quite a mouth on her. Wow. Can you tell us about that tweet?
Yeah, no, that's been a fun one too, because obviously we know that Tim's not running for the U.S. Senate seat. Well, it's because it was opening up because of Tina Smith. And ever since we put out a tweet where she's been going after Elon Musk, and of course, if you're going to go after the big guy on Twitter, his people and himself are going to come after you. So she's been creating some problems for herself in that regard, and she's not running again. So she's just going even further left than she was prior, and it's really created some problems for her. But yeah, she basically told Musk, well, you're not my boss, and we're not listening to you. We're going after you billionaires. Well, it's kind of funny because isn't your governor a billionaire? She ran with a billionaire for governor in Minnesota as his lieutenant governor, was appointed by a billionaire. But her entire career has been propped up by billionaires, but let's put that aside.
Well, I have the tweet here. It's, so this is from Minnesota Senator Tina Smith. Elon Musk, I hate to break it to you, but you aren't my blanking boss. I answer to the people of Minnesota. And you tweeted back, so Tina, I am your boss. What did you do last week? Did she respond at all?
Oh, no. But I think that's at 4 million impressions right now. And I also sent an official email to her office, and that's been a week now, and I have not heard back, unfortunately, as a constituent of the state of Minnesota. So I'm still updating people if I ever hear back, but I'm not gonna hold my breath.
So let's talk about that Senate seat filling for Tina Smith. Is Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan going to get it? Or is there a strong Republican candidate out there, possibly?
Oh, yeah. In terms of the nomination, I think Peggy's going to be the pick. She kind of flexed her muscles a little bit and, kind of positioned herself right in there. A lot of people don't realize that Peggy and Tina actually share the same political advisor.
Oh.
So this was planned. Tina and Peggy wanted this to happen. But, of course, can Minnesota actually flip this thing? The good news is when you look at the U.S. map, it's very Republican-friendly. We're going to hold all these seats very easily. We maybe have a chance at losing Maine, but even still, it's our weakest Republican, so it's not that big of a deal. But we have 3 or 4 big pickup opportunities. In Minnesota, it might be that 5th one, which is nice because normally this isn't an option for us in the past, but this is an open seat. We have a great opportunity. Peggy Flanagan is absolutely crazy. The photo I love to share about her is where she says protects trans people, and it's 2 knives.
2
on
knives?
The shirt.
Okay.
2 knives. So she's aggressive and very, very leftist, which is why she's a shoo-in for their nomination.
Yeah, but who are the Republicans going to put up?
So I can't quite say that yet, but there's several really good candidates. We do have Royce White as well as Adam Swartzy currently in the bid. Adam's the much stronger pick of the two. He's a former U.S. Navy SEAL, so he's got a solid background, good military background, and he's got a lot of money behind him. He married into a pretty wealthy family. I believe it's the Marvin Windows family. So northern Minnesota, he's got a bankroll. He can run a good campaign. Royce did lose by double digits behind Donald Trump in Minnesota, so he's not viable, but I don't think he's going to get anywhere near our nomination this time around, which is good. But there are potentially some really, really, really big names coming out here for the seat. But honestly, the candidates are just waiting for Walz to officially announce for re-election. And then from there, the dominoes are going to start to fall into place.
Any indication that the president might get involved with one of those candidates in the primary?
I do think that can happen. It's all going to depend on, because, I'll just say this, as a constituent of Wright County, Minnesota, we had our BPOU, our county convention this last week, and Tom Emmer is our hometown guy, so the majority whip. He was very clear that the president wants to get involved in Minnesota and he wants to turn this state red. We just have to put up the right candidate. And I do think he will get involved to make sure that candidate gets in and through. There are potentially 2 really good ones. I'll just say one of them that's been mentioned publicly pretty frequently, and that's Michelle Tafoya of Minnesota. So she's that's one of the two names I think that can win.
And he will support.
One, but I won't quite out them yet.
Yeah, but does that person have more name recognition than Michelle Tafoya?
They actually have about equal.
Oh, come on. You're such a tease. Just tell us. Break news here on the Morning Answer.
We'll see once it comes, but I won't quite out them yet. They're a good friend. So if they decide to jump in, I'll let them do it on their own time. But I love both the candidates that are potentially going to get in. I will happily support either of them. And in all honesty, I've told both of them, if both of you run, I have no idea who I'm going to vote for.
Oh, all right.
In
well,
the primary. So
I guess we'll have to wait.
They're both solid options.
And then for sure, Governor Walz is running again for a third term.
It's not confirmed yet, but by all indications I've heard, it's going to happen. And the good news is I know of at least 2 candidates that are going to be really good running against him as well. And assuming we get 2 extremely competent candidates top a ticket here for U.S. Senate and Governor, I already know that the AG, Secretary of State, and our state auditor positions are going to look great. We also have a great map for state Senate. And we currently have the House in a tie. So, in theory, this could be the first year, well, not that we just win a statewide seat for Minnesota Republicans, but we could win a majority across the board, which would be an exciting time. And, true signs side of how things are turning in Minnesota. I know we mentioned this in the past, like, there's a media monopoly in Minnesota. Well, that media monopoly is finally kind of being broken down. And we're actually seeing money go into the state again. And we just elected a new party chair and executive director. I think they're very competent. And, the things are looking up in Minnesota. I think we have a real shot.
Wow. All right. Good luck with turning Minnesota blue. And it's always a pleasure having you on the show, and we'll have you back again. Thanks, Dustin.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me.
Columnist at townhall.com. You can follow him on X, and I really would follow him on X. He's got great tweets. Grage, Grage, Dustin. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile. Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
It's time to throw your overpriced big wireless contract overboard. With a qualifying plan, you can choose an iPhone 14 or a Samsung Galaxy for $0. Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team will make the switch in as little as 10 minutes. No hassle, no gimmicks, just honest-to-goodness wireless price right. Dial pound 250, say the keywords Pure Talk, claim your new iPhone or Galaxy with a qualifying purchase from Pure Talk, which is America's wireless company. Visit puretalk.com for details.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
All across the country, states are embracing school choice and offering vouchers to families to send students to whichever school they want, including private Christian schools. Illinois, however, has resisted this trend, despite all the benefits of private education. Well, we have a solution. ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com. It's simple. Just visit ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com and tell us which private school you want to send your child to. Then we contact the school on your behalf and work to secure a voucher for half off the first year of tuition, typically saving thousands of dollars for families. The program only applies to new students who are not currently enrolled in the school. So if you've been considering sending your child to a private school and thought it was financially out of reach, go to ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com to learn more and to start the process today. That's ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com.
In 2012, the Journal of Cognition and Emotion published a study that showed that we make a decision to trust a person within 100 milliseconds of seeing their face. Making a good first impression has never been more important, and you can make that positive impression with a professional headshot from Tom Killoran Photography. Whether you're a job seeker trying to land your next position, or you're looking to build your business by connecting with prospective clients and customers, you need a high-quality headshot to use with your resume, portfolio, website, or other marketing materials. materials. The experts at Tom Killoran Photography can work with you to capture the exact look you need for your professional presentation. Tom Killoran Photography is also the official photographer for AM 560 The Answer. To learn more and to see a sample of their work, just visit KilloranPhotography.com. That's KILLORAN Photography.com, or call them at 708-361-0025. Tom Killoran Photography, capturing important life moments for over 30 years.
I saw a t-shirt recently, and it said, "Too much of anything is bad unless we're talking about bacon." Now, we can debate all day long about the points of bacon. However, portion control is a good thing. That can also be said about your retirement accounts. Too much risk, when you could be burdened down by a down market. Too conservative, and maybe you can't take that Alaskan cruise you've been saving for. Tom Fortuna and the people of Alpha Wealth Group understand portion control. He can balance a retirement plan with levels of protection and risk designed specifically to your needs. And if you don't want risk at all, he can do that as well. Just simply call for a free discovery meeting. You can call him today at 630-864-6711. That's 630-864-6711. You may not find that right balance between a pound of bacon and a pound of kale, but you can find the balance between worrying about your retirement and enjoying your retirement. Find out for yourself by giving Tom Fortino a call at 630-864-6711 or online at alphawealthgroup.com.
This is Larry Elder, inviting you to join me on the Alaska cruise this summer, along with Mike Gallagher, Jennifer Horn, and Joe Piscopo. Enjoy Alaska's breathtaking beauty like never before. Text the word TRAVEL to 94878 to reserve your cabin today. This luxury trip is your chance to experience majestic scenery, patriotism, and adventure. We set sail August 16th through the 23rd. Reserve your cabin today. Text TRAVEL to 94878. That's TRAVEL to 94878.
Don't miss In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr. Now heard on Sunday mornings at 7:30. Tune in and find hope as Jim Scudder explores God's Word and His world each Sunday morning right here on AM 560. The Answer. AM 560. The Answer.
Hello. No music bed, Justin? I feel so lonely. There we go. All right, we're back. Debbie Litwin, our HR director, brought in McDonald's, so everyone's busy eating. Nobody's paying attention. It's all right.
Yeah. She is such a sweetheart to do that.
I know. What are you eating over there, buddy?
I'm having one of those hockey puck sandwiches.
The hockey puck.
That's what I call it.
That's not processed at all. Mm-hmm. I'm calling Robert Kennedy JFK Jr. right now.
JFK Jr.
Make sure there's no red dyes in there.
I wonder if he's ever had one of these.
You know what? There was video of him with Trump on a private plane, and he was eating McDonald's.
Really?
I think everything in moderation
I think I saw that. Yep.
Is acceptable. Now, we don't know if he binged and purged, but he was eating. And I just wanted, this is a montage of this week of the Democrats just losing their minds over Doge and the elimination of DEI. Are you ready for this one?
Roll it.
You could pee on my leg, but don't tell me it's rain. And Trump is raining on America.
We are in the middle of a ketamine-fueled, middle-of-the-night, autocratic power grab.
President Trump has been more of a chaos agent over the last few weeks and not shown any interest whatsoever in dealing with the unaffordability.
It's become really hard to have an intellectual debate with any of these people because the level of stupidity that they are displaying every single day is frankly embarrassing.
Are voters having voters' remorse already?
I think so, and it's going to keep building given what he's doing. But chaos is up, corruption is up, and costs are up.
I tell you, it's like a full-on retreat. And every now and then a soldier turns and takes a shot at nothing really. It just shoot, and then they turn around and continue to run. It's disorderly, chaotic retreat.
And please don't stop. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, save civilization? Well, get married. We'll explain. But now let's head into that newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
It's a windy day in the Chicago area and closing arguments in the murder trial of a Plainfield landlord. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
Let's make a deal. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. Ukraine's President Zelensky will be at the White House today, called a dictator by President Trump last week.
Did I say that?
I can't believe I said that. Next question.
The president yesterday with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. He expects to sign a deal today for the United States to share Ukraine's natural resources as compensation for all the aid provided for the war against Russia.
One of the big questions today is what security guarantees, if any, are in this proposed agreement with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, which, of course, was what brings him here today. What's in the draft agreement is a 50% mineral rights deal, which gives the United States half of all the minerals and rare earths that comes out of the ground in Ukraine. And we have a description of some of those minerals. I can read them to you. They include titanium, which is used in the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter's bulkheads, lithium used for batteries and smartphones, electric vehicles, graphite, and a key material in steel production, nickel used in battery and jet engine production, cobalt used in rechargeable batteries and EV production.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. A federal judge stops the Trump administration from directing mass firings at federal agencies, but says he can't stop agencies from making those decisions independently, the judge says. We're no closer to knowing how actor Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy died.
The two-time Oscar winner and his wife Betsy, along with one of their dogs, found dead at their Santa Fe, New Mexico home on Wednesday after a maintenance worker grew concerned after not seeing the couple for 2 weeks. A police affidavit also revealing the couple's hands and feet showed signs of mummification. Now, according to that affidavit, detectives believe that the circumstances surrounding the deaths are, quote, suspicious enough in nature to require a thorough search and investigation, although they have not said much more than that.
Fox's Todd Pyro. Consumer inflation comes in at 2.5% annually. The Commerce Department says consumer spending was down 0.2% from December to January, the biggest drop in 3 years. America's listening to Fox News.
In Chicago, we have cloudy skies, 38 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott, and you'll be battling the wind today. Wind gusts could reach 45 miles an hour. A wind advisory is in effect. The Chicago Board of Education is keeping 5 charter schools open. The board voting yesterday to keep 5 of 7 Acero charter schools slated for closure open through the end of the 2025-26 school year.
And I feel that we have an obligation to maintain that pledge.
Debbie Pope speaking yesterday before the board, and that board voted to keep 5 of those 7 charter schools open. Over the course of the year, Chicago's Department of Transportation will install an additional 50 speed cameras throughout the city, bringing that total number to around 200. CDOT will publicize the cameras' locations before they're activated, and drivers will be given a 30-day grace period. A former Navy sailor faces up to 20 years in federal prison after pleading guilty to plotting to attack Naval Station Great Lakes in North Chicago. Harry Pang entered the guilty plea in November. Court records have been unsealed because of a guilty plea in that case. Pang apparently communicated with someone about potentially assisting with a plan to conduct attacks around Chicago to avenge the death of the general of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Chicago sports, Blackhawks surrender 5 goals in the first in a 7-5 loss to Vegas. Bulls take on Toronto tonight. Baseball, Cubs play to a 4-4 draw with the Angels, and the White Sox were 4-2 winners over Cleveland. 8:04. Time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Investors are anxiously awaiting the release of the Federal Reserve's preferred inflation measure, the PCE index. It's scheduled to be released this morning. Shares of Valeo falling in European morning trading Friday as economic and technological uncertainty impact its customer base. The French auto parts supplier said car makers have canceled or delayed billions of dollars worth of orders. The Financial Times is reporting that Citigroup mistakenly credited $81 trillion to a customer's account. The amount was supposed to be $280. The incident occurred in April. It was missed by a payments employee and a second official checking the transaction. It took hours to correct. Citigroup said the incident did not have any impact on the bank or the client. And that's your Fox Business Report. I'm Laura Cantor, invested in you.
The first weeks of the new Trump administration have been full speed ahead, making America great again.
It's going to only get better.
And on Tuesday, March 4th, President Trump will take a victory lap when he addresses Congress and the nation. And AM 560 is throwing a watch party.
They tell me it's very exciting.
Join us for dinner and President Trump's speech on March 4th in Rolling Meadows. Get your tickets at 560theanswer.com/watch. That's 560theanswer.com/watch. Sponsored in part by Opum Tax Advocates and attorney Stephen Leahy.
It's time to throw your overpriced big wireless contract overboard. With a qualifying plan, you can choose an iPhone 14 or a Samsung Galaxy for $0. Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team will make the switch in as little as 10 minutes. No hassle, no gimmicks, just honest-to-goodness wireless price right. Dial pound 250, you say the keywords Pure Talk, claim your new iPhone or Galaxy with a qualifying purchase from Pure Talk, which is America's wireless company. Visit puretalk.com for details.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
This is Hugh Hewitt for townhall.com. Approximately 11,000 homes and an unknown number of churches and structures were lost in the Palisades and Eaton fires in the Los Angeles city and counties this January. If the fires of 2018 are any guide, those who lost their homes are looking at a long and winding road to return to them, if ever. Governor Newsom has asked President Trump for $40 billion in relief funds. The President and the Secretary of the Interior, Doug Burgum, ought to say no to that and instead seek, say, half of the $40 billion amount requested. But a Congress that provides aid should also demand in express and detailed language a preemption of all state, regional, and local regulations governing the burn area of these fires. The legislation ought to vest sole land use authority over those areas in the Department of the Interior, Office of the Secretary of the Interior. It's an opportunity for Donald Trump that could make California golden again. I'm Hugh Hewitt.
.808, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, and this update is a service of almostfreeteeth.com. Overpaying for dental implants is over. If you've been getting high quotes for dental implants, for the medical PPO, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at almostfreeteeth.com. 8094 eastbound between Indianapolis Boulevard and Grant. Bad accident, 2 right lanes are blocked. Oak Brook, 31st, near the Tri-State, have an accident reported. Lombard, North Avenue in Swift, report of an accident. And in Westmont, Cass and Norfolk, an accident bottling up that intersection. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
A wind advisory today. Clouds and sun. Windy and high today at 58. Clouds and breezy. Showers around this evening. Flurries late tonight. Low 24. Partly sunny, breezy, cold day tomorrow. And the high at 31. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Windy and 40 degrees. Your next news update is at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good Friday morning. Amy Jacobson here. Charles Thomas here. Don't forget it's Open Mic Friday starting at 8:30 this morning. And that's always a good time. Anything you want to talk about.
Anything?
We will discuss. anything.
Anything. Okay.
And you and I have been talking a lot about our marriages because we both are on our second marriage.
Yes.
First time I was married to a Puerto Rican. Now this time you're married to a Puerto Rican.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'll accept all sympathy. But, no, she keeps me definitely on the straight and narrow.
Uh-huh. Well, you've been together almost 20 years. I remember when you were about to get married, you were so happy. You were like flying through a news conference. Yeah, you were just so happy when you sat down, like getting married. And then where'd you guys go on your honeymoon? You went to some island, I thought.
You know what? Gosh, I don't remember.
Oh, Charles.
I really don't remember I went on a honeymoon.
Ladies.
You got to understand.
You don't remember where you went on your honeymoon?
Well, it had to be either. I know where I proposed.
All right, where'd you propose?
In the Grand Caymans.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's where, I got the ring and everything like that. But my life has changed so much since then. I needed this woman. I love you, baby. I really do.
What did she? So did she bring stability into your life?
Stability, discipline. Made me act right, and that. And plus, we share spiritually. We share faith, and that's something I really learned and nurtured with her, alongside her.
You didn't have that before?
No, I was a wild man. You name it, I was doing it. And and it wasn't good. And she said, "Oh no, not here." I said, "What do you mean?" "No, not here." And I said, "Okay." I didn't. But this was 20 years ago, and I think that it was a prize fight. It involved, Puerto Ricans are into boxing in a way that others are not. So
it's a very important part of their culture.
It was a centered. And Tito, I think, Wilfredo Benitez or somebody like that, was fighting. I can't remember the actual fighter, but I saw her. She was walking across the room, and I said, and our eyes met.
Oh, really? They actually met. Okay.
Our eyes met, and we couldn't really talk to each other at the time. But then I saw her at another prize fight.
Oh.
See,
and then you finally. I think that's God's work, don't you? Sometimes?
Oh, I know it's God's work. Oh, without a doubt. And one thing led to another thing, and there was a scandal involved. But
we don't need to know.
We really don't.
Well, we're talking about marriage because marriage is a way to save civilization, according to our next guest. So we'd like to welcome on our Turnkey.pro answer line, Brad Wilcox. He's professor of sociology at University of Virginia, one of the nation's leading experts on marriage and family, and author of Get Married, Why Americans Must Defy the Elites, Forge Strong Families, and Save Civilization. Good morning, Brad. How are you?
I'm doing well, Amy. Great to be with you guys today.
Yes.
Good morning.
So what worries me is that I have two boys, well, 3 or 4, consider a foster son. Family keeps getting bigger. But a lot of them, only 1 in 4 date because the rest, they're COVID kids. They were locked in the house here in Illinois for 2 years and really did not learn how to socialize. And I'm worried about them. I encourage them, like, are you dating or, how important is it for them to be married to save our civilization?
Yeah, Amy, it's incredibly important for your young adults to get married. What we see is that there's really no better predictor of happiness for young adults than marriage, not, education, not work, not money. So this is just kind of an incredibly important kind of life goal that we should be encouraging young adults to focus on, in part by dating more with an eye towards marriage.
Wow.
When you have young men and women marrying so much later in life, like after 30, how is that affecting the dynamic of society? Well, first of all, how is it affecting marriage and family growth? And then the general dynamic of our society?
Yeah, Charles, great question. I think when we see folks getting married in their 30s, the challenge is they often kind of don't have the time to have the kids they'd like to have. And then also they're more likely to be kind of not on the same page, with things like religion. Charles, you were just mentioning, how important that is in your marriage today. So I think, a lot of folks have been kind of worried about making mistakes, when it comes to getting married too young. But what we're seeing now is we're estimating that 1 in 3 young adults today will never marry. And so I certainly encourage my students at the University of Virginia not to be kind of dilly-dallying in terms of, if you meet a good person here at UVA, for instance, I think you should think about marriage as you kind of head into your early mid-20s, and not just assume there's going to be someone waiting in the wings when you turn, 28, 29, or 30 that will be able to kind of step into that role.
I'm glad you have that conversation with your kids, because with coaching, there's so many great kids. They're all great, but they need to be told you're going to be a great father someday, or you're going to be a great mother someday, because those roles are important, but that seems to get lost in public education. They don't talk about it.
Yeah, as I talk to my students again at UVA, kind of the vast, vast majority of them have heard nothing about marriage, in their public schools. And there's obviously not a lot of marriage-friendly voices in the pop culture and online today. So we need to be doing more to kind of underline all the ways in which getting married and having a family is the path to financial security and to kind of realizing that classic American pursuit, which, of course, is the pursuit of happiness.
How about when you have so many single women out there, women who will never marry in their lives?
Well, because they're told it's bad for the not the economy, the environment, excuse me. I mean, when I grew up, they told us do not have more than 2 or 3 kids because it's bad for the environment. You're going to be throwing diapers in the landfill. You're going to be, sucking up the CO2. I mean, they told us, they scared us to death in sex ed class with that stuff.
But what scares me to death is that you have all these single women who are older, who get into their 50s and 60s and 70s, and they're alone. What's that mean for our society?
Yeah, so we are seeing what I call kind of rising kinlessness play out here in the U.S., and it's certainly a challenge and will be a greater challenge for a lot of women as they kind of move through life course. But I would say it's an even greater challenge for men. What we see, as you know, is there's been just literally hundreds of thousands of men dying deaths of despair, deaths related to suicide, drug overdoses, and alcohol poisonings in recent years, and the group that's the most likely to kind of succumb to these deaths of despair are guys who don't have a college degree and who are either never married or divorced. And I think the challenge for men is that most of us men, I think, Charles, your comments earlier were indicative of this, we actually thrive on having kind of a mission and a rhythm and routine in our lives, on having to kind of care for and provide for our wives and kids, kind of knowing what we're supposed to be doing, not just, of course, during the day, but during the evenings and weekends. And so having, the responsibility to help kids with homework, to watch, in my case, teen daughters, play basketball, summer pool outings with, the fam, whatever. All these things are just so incredibly important for guys, too. And we're just seeing, because of these larger demographic and family trends, more and more men, especially in working class and poor communities, being completely separated from marriage and family life.
As a child of the 60s and 70s, how has feminism affected marriage and family?
So obviously there have been some good things about feminism. I think an expectation that men, need to kind of play an important role in the lives of their kids and their families and to be more emotionally engaged. It's all good. I think where it has created problems, though, is it has kind of dramatically increased women's expectations about what marriage and men can deliver, sometimes I think to an unrealistic level. And then I think, too, we haven't really kind of been able to, in recent years, recent decades, really kind of publicly articulate and understand and appreciate what is a kind of pro-social, family-related masculinity. Like, what are we kind of expecting men to do that's sort of unique and important, in the family and in the marriage? And so because of that, a lot of guys, I think, and boys, young men are floundering. And then we're also, of course, leaving space for people like Andrew Tate to articulate a vision of masculinity, which is, seductive to a lot of our teenage boys and young men today, but in no way is it obviously pro-marriage or pro-family. So I think we've got to, figure out in a kind of new way, in a kind of post-feminist way, but not in a kind of misogynistic way, which is what Andrew Tate, is doing right now. how we can kind of make masculinity attached to marriage and family life in ways that are compelling and attractive and beneficial to our families and communities.
So those of us who aren't familiar with Andrew Tate, what is his mantra? What is his
Andrew Tate is,
because now he's back in Florida, he and his brother.
He's probably the most influential online guy in what's called the manosphere, which is just kind of like this domain on the internet where men are talking to other men and to teenage boys about what it means to be a man, how you got to kind of get stronger, got to be more independent minded, you have to be more successful in making money. And he's got a whole kind of litany of ideas, that he's sort of targeting them. And some of them are good, but the problem there part is he kind of has this idea, or he does have this idea, that men should basically use and even abuse, I think, women, but not invest in them. And that's because he thinks that marriage is a dead end, that most marriages end in divorce. And so, again, men shouldn't invest in women. They should just kind of use and abuse them. What he doesn't realize, among other things, is that, number one, most marriages today actually go the distance. Divorce is down 40% since 1980. And the other thing he doesn't, I think, appreciate is that there's no group of men in America who are happier than married fathers, men who have the opportunity day in and day out to kind of, I would say, make a gift of themselves to their wife and to their kids. It's these guys today in America who are the most likely to tell us that they're happy.
Brad, what about dating? I mean, if you go back 50, 60, 75 years ago, people really didn't date. I mean, now we got dating.
No, my grandparents would go to dances like the Aragon Ballroom.
But
at Blaine Middle School back then, they had dances. They'd have a Norwegian dance or a Swedish dance,
But there were a lot of marriages that were
prearranged.
Yeah. But I mean, dating now seems to be the thing. I mean, you can,
Well, social media has really. I mean, ask any of these young people. Well, where'd you meet them? Well, online. That's how they meet online.
But I mean,
instead
you
of
can
bumping into somebody at a coffee shop or at church or at a bar.
But there's this big question about body count. Like,
What do you mean? How many people you can date?
And more than they just date. I mean, but the whole notion of that and how does that affect it, again, the dynamic of marriage? I mean, if no more virtuous virgins, out there.
Well, actually, Charles, there's a kind of a more complicated story playing out now. I would say really in the last decade, in part because we're all spending too much time on our phones. I mean, that's a simple, way to talk about this. But we've actually seen kind of dating come down in the last decade, and actually sex is down too among, teenagers and young adults. And that's obviously, complicated story here. But the big point I want to make on that score is that we are seeing what I would kind of describe as the closing of the American heart unfold. Less dating, less mating, less marriage, less childbearing in the U.S. among our adults. And so I would, like to encourage and do encourage my students at UVA, for instance, to date more and to, make more of an effort to try to figure out how they can kind of volunteer, get engaged in sports activities. If they've got a religious bone in their body, plug into a local church or mosque or synagogue, temple, whatever, recognizing that, meeting in person is, for most of us, the best place to find a future spouse. And my colleague, Dr. Wendy Wang, has found, for instance, that people who meet in person are more likely to be happily married compared to folks who meet online and folks who meet at a bar. And so when she's talking about meeting in person, meeting in a religious community, meeting in college class, meeting in the workplace, we have kind of, like multiple opportunities to get to kind of know someone, sort of figure out what they're really about, and then you kind of can make a better judgment about whether or not you would be, a good couple, and then later on, put a ring on it.
You recently wrote an article in the Desert News about the Trump administration, and they're already proving to be family friendly. How is that?
So I think there are certainly some voices and some figures in the Trump administration who are kind of big proponents of marriage and family. Secretary Duffy in the Department of Transportation was the guy that I was talking about in that article. Obviously, Vice President J.D. Vance is a big voice for family in the Trump administration. So those kinds of leaders, I think, are thinking about measures and policies in ways that they can kind of put the weight of public policy behind pro-family measures. And so Secretary Duffy, for instance, is aiming to steer more transportation money towards communities that have higher than average marriage and birth rates, kind of recognizing that we should be doing more to kind of, make it easier for families to get around, primarily, on roads. And also, I think, understanding and appreciating that a lot of our federal dollars that are focusing on more urban transit tend to go to places that, are not really family-wise.
Okay. All right, Brad Wilcox, you are going to be speaking at Northridge Prep. That's one of our favorite high schools here at AM 560 tomorrow night. And where can people get tickets and how much? And give us all the details.
Yeah, so I'm speaking tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, and I don't know the actual, the website to go to, but I'll be posting more information on this on my Twitter account, which is Brad Wilcox IFS on X or on Twitter. And I'll be posting kind of this morning kind of more details about where you can go to get information about this event, again, tomorrow night, Saturday night at Northridge.
7 p.m. Saturday night, Northridge Prep in Des Plaines. Thank you so much, Brad Wilcox, for joining us, and have a great event tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
It's time to throw your overpriced big wireless contract overboard. With a qualifying plan, you can choose an iPhone 14 or a Samsung Galaxy for $0. Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team will make the switch in as little as 10 minutes. No hassle, no gimmicks, just honest-to-goodness wireless price right. Dial pound 250, you say the keywords Pure Talk, claim your new iPhone or Galaxy with a qualifying purchase from Pure Talk, which is America's wireless company. Visit puretalk.com for details.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
AM 560. The Answer.
Open mic! Open mic Friday! Call it now! Open mic Friday!
All right, welcome to Open Mic Friday. Grab a line, 312-642-5600. That is where you can reach us. But we begin with our sponsor, the one and only David Kosick from Turnkey.pro. Good morning, David. How are you?
Good morning. Really good, Charles and Amy. I wanted to chime in here really quick on that marital thing you were talking about. I got married young at like 23, and we didn't have anything. We didn't have any money. We barely had jobs, and it was an adventure. And the fact that we had an adventure, we started with nothing. We had a battle together, and so we built everything together. And so that makes for a really strong bond, I think. So, getting married young, I don't think is the worst thing in the world. So I agree with a lot of
you got yourself a good one. Trust me.
My
wife, Melissa,
I outkicked my coverage right there.
Yeah, I mean, she got lucky too, but you got real lucky, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to catch them on the way up. I mean, that's. I agree with you 100%. Getting married early and growing together makes it.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, because can you imagine, say, a 35-year-old woman who's risen to vice president of her company? Who's she going to marry out there? I mean, really?
Exactly.
Think of how many guys are left that.
Yeah, because when you guys get older, you go younger. I used to play the grandpa or husband game at East Bank Club. I would sit there and I'd watch someone and I'm like, oh God, please that's his granddaughter. Please. Turned out it was his wife. We'd play that game all the time.
You can go overboard.
Age
with
plus 7, I guess that's the rule, right?
Oh, yeah. All right, David, so go on now that we're done with.
Anyway, so the news cycle is seemingly changing every day, and the hits keep on coming. So much is going on, and yet some people are saying nothing's going on, nothing's happening. So I saw an old meme from years ago just recently that had a picture of Trump, picture this, sitting at the Resolute desk, signing an executive order next to this little girl who says, arrest somebody already or my mom's going to lose her mind. She's used much more colorful language. But that meme appeared probably 8 years ago, so this sentiment's been going on for at least that long. On one hand, you've got all kinds of things moving at a breakneck pace, And on the other hand, things like arrest and disclosure are slow to develop. Perhaps it's the fault of all the promises that were told along the campaign trail, like Trump saying he's going to declassify JFK, RFK, MLK, as well as UFOs, UAPs, Epstein log files. And you're starting to see a little bit of that trickle out. And you've got Kash Patel that said he would release all the information on day one and that he would turn the FBI headquarters into a museum. So clearly they have set expectations and timelines that were probably improbable to meet and at very least and impossible by some measure. So, but along with the lack of arrests, you've got the investigations by DOJ that are uncovering so much information. Who cares if they save money? They're uncovering stuff. So I don't know if you've seen this young woman who goes by the handle of Data Republican on X and shared over and over again by Elon Musk. Have you seen her?
I have not. John,
No?
have you?
So there's a clip of an interview with her floating around. She's a deaf person, so she can't hear, and she's very bright. She's a database expert and a scientist. She's called a kernel expert, not like a colonel in the Army, but a kernel, Kernel, as in a core part of an operating system. This is one smart cookie. So anyway, she's being interviewed by a guy with a sign language interpreter talking about how Elon Musk found her analysis of data on X and how numbers don't lie. So essentially, there's a lot of public data out there that's voluminous, stuff like USAID and all these different pieces of information that are public, and it's overwhelming. So what she's managed to do is essentially index all of that data and cross-check it against each other. It's a complicated matter, but the gist of it is that she's working alongside of DOJ to use AI to investigate and expose corrupt politicians and judges. She calls it the People Connection Mega Project. It's an analysis of the connections and relationships between people in the government, because if you research it long enough, you start to notice that they're all working together. They're all married in some way. They're in-laws. They know each other. They sit on the same board for many years. The project is to map those relationships and put the information out there. So you can see her work not only on X, but on datarepublican.com. So if you want to look that up, you can. Not surprisingly, she says Democrats and Republicans are both to blame. She says it's everywhere and that there are sitting members of Congress that actually serve on NGO boards right now. They vote in Congress for money for themselves, and they sit on the same NGOs that receive the money they vote for. It's a huge conflict of interest, and it's buried very deep. Look at the $160 million Jamie Raskin just pushed through USAID. The numbers don't lie, and it's not a partisan issue. And she says that if the American people understood completely what they're finding, there would be outrage across the board. For me, as you guys know, I can't wait for arrests and full disclosure and justice. But when you look at this breadth of corruption, you've got to pump the brakes. For the last 5 weeks or so, we've been exposed to so much corruption. It's amazing that anything is positive for the American people within our government. I mean, everything is corrupt. Your government's been lying to you, stealing from you, locking you down, controlling you, all while enriching themselves and their families. And when the proof is brought forward, in the case of Joe Biden and the big guy and all of that, he just says, no, I didn't, and nothing happens. But now we're seeing the pervasive behavior basically in all of Congress and on both sides of the aisle, except for Thomas Massie, of course. They call it a right wing and a left wing for a reason. They're both part of the same corrupt, lying, stealing, warmongering, unrepresentative bird that's called the U.S. government. So we have to be patient as these revelations come forward. It's not just simply a few people that need to be removed. It's all of them to some degree, and I'm here for it. So as they say, let's effing go.
All right. David Kosick from Turnkey.pro answer line. Thank you so much, as always. 312-642-5600. Turnkey.pro answer line. You can also text us on that line. We're getting a lot of comments about marriages, saying, Charles and Amy, I've been married for 51 years. I married my best friend, and he changed my life. Wow. So if any marriage stories you want to discuss, if you want to talk about Gene Hackman, somebody thought he was possibly poisoned, who knows? But 312-642-5600. We want to welcome to the program this man called John Anthony, who I wanted you to come on real quickly and tell us about. You went to Washington, D.C.
I did.
Last week, 2 weeks ago.
But Amy,
and met Donald Trump.
You did. I did, but you quit me, huh?
What do you mean I quit you?
Charles Thomas is sitting in the chair, not me.
You're a busy man.
You quit me. That's okay.
I can't quit you.
You quit me.
I'm backdoor, man.
No, but it was a great event. So I went there. I went to D.C. The last 2 weeks. The first day, I believe it was the 12th or the 13th, it got canceled because of inclement weather. So I went back again.
Otherwise known as a snowstorm.
Yes. I went back.
Okay, meteorologist John Anthony.
Okay. But I went back again, thanks in large part to Pastor Corey Brooks, who I can't even say what he did, but he he helped me to go back the second time.
Okay.
Because D.C. is very expensive. So let's just leave it there. So I went and I met so many people. And so you get into the White House. I mean, it's hard to get in there. I've been invited there, I don't know how many times, but I've never been able to do it. I was invited by the Barack Obama presidency. And then in 2016, when Trump won, I was invited in, but I wasn't able to go. So this time I was like, I'm going. And there were 200 plus, almost 300 people in that room. I mean, Marcellus Wiley, the Fox, is it Fox Sports?
It used to be ESPN, I think.
Now he's Fox Sports or something like that. Yeah, he was there. Boosie, Kodak Black. I mean, you had a lot of. I was shocked to see Marcellus there. I ran into a huge Michigan contingent. As you know, I'm doing Detroit Morning Show now.
Mm-hmm. Detroit's Morning answer.
Detroit's Morning
92.7.
And AM 1400.
That's what I meant, yeah.
Yeah, and I met a huge Michigan contingent there, and it was just so surreal. I didn't take a lot of pictures because I wanted to live in the moment.
Good for you.
I hate that I didn't now.
Oh well.
But just to see Donald Trump, it was great to see. Tiger Woods was there, and he gave a short speech because he just lost his mom.
I know.
Tiger Woods, so you could tell he was grieving. But and Donald Trump, he gave probably about a 45-minute speech.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's
Scott,
short for him.
What it is. Scott Turner, the HUD secretary, he was there. He gave a speech, and then he brought David Harris Jr. I believe you guys have had him on before.
Oh yeah.
He brought him up there and let him speak. To see that many black, and they weren't all conservatives. There were some Democrats there who voted for Donald Trump.
And you were there to honor Black History Month.
History Month.
Okay.
It was a Black History Month ceremony, and it was so surreal, and just to see that many people there celebrating what Trump has done and what he's getting ready to do.
All right.
So it was cool.
Charles, where was your invite?
Where was my?
Yeah.
He ain't black. He lost his black card.
I lost my black card. No.
You did not.
The thing about it, I heard somebody describe it as a Uncle Tom convention.
You mean the runaway slaves?
Yeah, runaway slave convention.
Did you play that audio?
What?
Huh?
No.
But that's what that's what
just it's in my black and right. It's called Preacher.
Uh-huh.
You need to hear what Pastor Jamal Bryant said about us black people being there. It's called Preacher.
Really?
Yeah, I played it on my thing. I mean, coming from the pulpit, a man who wears the cloth, a man who's supposed to be a man of God, the way what he said to us, he called us coons and
really.
Oh yeah.
All right, wait. Here we go. Here it is.
These runaway slaves hiding in the White House gonna throw my picture up thinking that I'm gonna be afraid. If you got real courage, don't show my picture. Show the picture of the one that fired the black Joint Chief of Staffs from the military. If you gonna put up a picture of the state legislators in Florida that are banning black books. If you gonna put up the picture of the one who is stealing classified information from the IRS and Social Security. If you gonna put up a picture, put up a picture.
I get his point. I mean, I
called us coons and everything.
Oh my God!
Really,
what city is he from?
He's from Atlanta, Georgia. He took over for the great late Eddie Long.
The great Eddie Long.
He's Eddie Longstreet.
Is he?
Eddie's dead.
Eddie got locked, but he got locked up. Did he get locked up?
I don't think. No, I think he died. Didn't he die before?
Did he get jumped? Is the question.
No, he was. I think he was involved in some kind of
sexual.
Scandal with some young men.
Allegation.
Something like that.
Okay. All right. 312-642-5600. Did you like that pivot there? I'm gonna try to get you guys out of that one. Let's go to Eduardo in Tampa Bay, formerly of Midway. Hello, Eduardo.
Yeah, good morning, Amy, Charles, and John, if you're still there.
Yeah, I'm here.
So I heard this on, I'm going to ask a question here in a moment off the air here. $54 billion in property, this is LA fires, $8 billion in economic losses in the next 5 years, $1 billion in lost tax revenue. So way to go, Karen Bass. And guys, ladies, can you comment on Mary Pappas? Because I heard this on the Superstation that had the Cubs before. I don't want to say their station. Maria Pappas is going to be running for mayor. What do you guys think?
Come on. No. No.
She's a little bit. She's got to be
older.
80 years old, right?
I mean, I'm telling you, and I know the lady. She is not going to be running.
Yeah, I doubt that.
For mayor of Chicago. Okay. But she does dress very flamboyantly over the years. It has gotten more eclectic every time.
She's still twirling that baton.
Yeah, she's got the baton. And then I did a yoga class with her at a place in Chicago on the north side, and she uses a different name.
Oh.
And I said, are you kidding me? Nobody cares. She's like, I have to keep this myself confidential. I'm like, man, one thinks very highly of oneself, but she is nice and she's approachable. So, speaking of the LA fires, thanks Eduardo for the phone call. Kamala Harris was out campaigning in LA, ground zero. You know, this is her. This is what Californians have.
And when you see this, you're here. You're now seeing it up close.
It's not only seeing it, Alex. You can smell it. You can feel it, right? So it's seeing it with our eyes, and many people have seen it. You all are covering it. But to literally be on the ground here, you can smell the smoke that was here. You can feel the toxicity, frankly, of the environment. You can feel the energy of all of the folks who are still here on the ground.
I mean, she was almost our president.
Oh, hey, you know, it's
it scares the living daylights. I have nightmares about this stuff.
Do you miss Joe Biden too?
No,
man. Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you that it's amazing what has happened over the past 6 weeks. Is it 5 weeks?
5 weeks.
No more Joe. No more Kamala.
Thank God.
Oh man.
Yeah, but that wasn't it. Then she was on the NAACP Image Awards. Can somebody explain what the chairman's prize is? Because that's what she got.
Some see the flames on our horizons, the rising waters in our cities, the shadows gathering over our democracy, and ask, what do we do now? But we know exactly what to do. Because we have done it before, and we will do it again.
What's to do it? What have we done?
What are we doing?
What will we do?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Nike, baby.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But I was really, why I was concerned? Because she had raised, $100 million, $1.5 billion, and I mistook that for votes, and I thought, oh my God. And then when she put her picture on the Sphere in Las Vegas, it's like, oh my God, is this for real? Is she really going to win? And I was completely wrong. And once again, Dan was right, as always. Because she didn't lose, she got destroyed. And
Who was the first one to say 2 years ago that he was going to win and it was going to be big?
Yes.
It was me. Right here. Well, sitting where,
where you used to sit.
Where your new best friend is.
I'm not cheating on you if you know
where
about
your new best friend is now.
You called it, right?
I did.
Yeah.
312-642-5600. Let's go to Bob in Buffalo Grove. Hey, Bob.
Good morning, Amy, and nice to hear you, Mr. Thomas.
Good morning.
Amy, and you too, John.
Hey, good morning, Bobby.
Regarding Doge, let me offer what Musk should possibly do, investigating the efficiency or lack of efficiency and incompetence of the United States Postal Service. Let me give you a story that recently happened to me. My wife flew out to D.C., and upon arriving, she realized she had forgot something. So she gave me a call and said, can you rush this missing item to me by overnight delivery by U.S. Postal? So I went to the post office. They mailed it out. It cost me, ready for this, $32 for overnight delivery.
Yeah.
The next day, it didn't arrive.
Of course not.
The following day, it didn't arrive. It finally took 1 week for this little item, the size of an 8.5 by 11 envelope, but it was actually in one of their special mail carriers, to arrive. So I wish Musk and Doge would look at the Postal Service. I could go on with other.
Oh, I know. Since COVID, I haven't got. Since COVID, thanks, Bob, for the phone call. Since COVID, I've not gotten my mail on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I get mail maybe once or twice a week. And when I mailed my mom a COVID test, because you know how they gave them out for free.
I don't know.
overnight was $89.
I never took
$89 for a little thing to send overnight during COVID. Now the prices have dropped down again. You talk about price gouging.
I mailed a letter with a check in it to guess where? The IRS.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Registered. Never got there.
It never
got
no one
there.
ever cashed the check?
No one ever cashed it, but it never got there.
Yeah.
So I find out several months later that they still want their money. Cost me $1,500.
That happened.
What?
Because of the interest and penalties.
Yeah, that happened with the Illinois Department of Revenue. I sent it same way. It never got there.
Yeah.
Did you hear what Secretary of Commerce Lutnick, Trump told him to come up with some different ideas for the United States Postal Service?
Yeah.
As it relates to the census, instead of hiring 625,000 people to go out and do the census, they're going to use U.S. Postal Service employees to go and be the ones to knock on the door and hand. I mean, they're there every day.
They're there, right? Why not?
Why not say? He said it's going to save $40 billion just doing that.
Wow. All right, 312-642-5600. Let's go to Vince and Huntley. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hi, Vince.
Hi, good morning. So I think AG Bondi and Director Patel is using the Epstein files for a sting operation. They had a whistleblower come out and say that there are people, agents destroying evidence, leaking information about Homeland Security about the immigrants. So I think this is just one big sting operation.
You think so?
No, I got a question for Amy.
Yeah,
Amy, are you going to go to the White House to be a correspondent for
a day? I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
You want to do it? Let me know.
Come on, do it.
Okay.
I got the.
It'd be awesome.
Okay.
Yeah,
If
I got
you've
the
got
connection.
connections.
I do. I got the
You hook
connection.
us, hook a sister up.
Yeah.
Clout.
But as it relates to that, New York, they discovered over 1,000 documents that they didn't turn over to,
Right.
and now she's like, "Hey, give me those
Well,
documents."
they're supposed to be released at 8 a.m., and so I'm still not.
But I agree with him. I think there's something more.
Seeing
I think there's
anything
something
on
else
this.
going on because under the Biden administration, they didn't do anything with that. They simply didn't, because I think the people that are on that list, not so much the flight list, but the island list, I think is going to shock us who's on that list.
Island list.
Do you think they're
being on the actual island? Now the flight, maybe anybody can charter his plane. I'm
That's
sure he
true.
chartered his plane to a lot.
Well,
of
remember
people.
when we had Trump's secretary on who said, "Oh, Trump's been on Epstein's plane, but that's to go from West Palm to Manhattan." She goes, "I know this sounds strange, but we live in a different world down here, and people will call each other. Their assistants will call other assistants like, we need to get to Manhattan like within an hour."
Yeah. Lim Patton,
who's
he was
leaving?
on.
Yeah, Lim Patton.
Yeah.
And so Trump jumped on Epstein's plane and went to New York, but he never went to the island.
Never.
And I can't there's even people who work here who think he's going to be on that list.
Okay, if he was on that list, they needed to take him out. You don't think they would have released that during the president?
Oh,
during
darn
the
right. They were.
campaign?
That's why they dangled it.
That's right.
Because they always had to have something. Always had to have
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Against him. So, all right, let's go to Glenn in Orlando. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hi, Glenn.
Good morning. Looking forward to seeing everybody on Tuesday. Before I go to my breaking news about heaven, I just wanted to say one thing about justice. Alice Johnson.
Yes.
Alice Johnson. I love it. I love what he did. So, with her.
She's
So,
a pardon sign.
in any event, yep, exactly. In any event, does everyone know that St. Peter is going to start asking everyone at the pearly gates to list 5 ways they advance God's kingdom on earth?
Oh,
So
okay.
get ready.
All right. I'm ready with my 5.
You know what? That's, for somebody to be a racist in chief, for him to appoint her. So I had Kwame Kilpatrick, former mayor of Detroit, who's now a pastor in Detroit, on the show. You remember I was telling you about it. And, he worked with her to help with her organization. But now that she's the pardon czar, think about this. She's going to oversee who gets pardoned during the remaining of Trump administration or as long as she's there.
Wow.
But he's a racist. What racist would put a black woman who he let out in charge of this? And I think Angela Stanton's going to be a part of that as well.
What racist would endorse a black man to be the governor
of Florida,
the state of Florida?
Yeah.
Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all.
They're not going to wake up.
Let's deal with it.
Greg in Jefferson Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hi, Greg.
Hey, good morning, Amy, John,
morning.
Charles.
Good morning.
You guys are fantastic.
A real quick thing. I got a package from Milan, Italy, FedEx in 25 hours, door to door.
Really?
In any case. I called a number of weeks ago and spoke with these two gentlemen, Amy, when you and Dan were at one of your white supremacist rallies. And one of the things that I'd like to see when the mayor goes to Washington, before they bring him up, they need to put George Blakemore in front of these guys for 5 minutes and let him speak and talk about all the great things that happen in Chicago. And that would put the mayor over the deep end. He'd have a stroke because George would just tear him to shreds before the Congress gets 1 second at him.
I mean, how do you defend the indefensible? What in the world could you possibly say that is positive about being a sanctuary city?
Yeah.
What? Do you guys have anything?
You do know that Jessica Jackson may speak at this hearing.
I did not know
She's
that.
trying everything in her power to speak at this hearing as well. I do know she's talked to Speaker Johnson's office. She's in contact with him to try to speak. She's the young lady that's been railing against him. So that would be something if she speaks at that hearing.
I don't think
it's indefensible.
Yeah. I mean,
It's indefensible.
honestly, there's not one positive thing you could say.
Yeah. No.
What have they contributed to our society?
Yeah.
10,000 plus cigarette butts outside of the Gage Park shelter. It looked like a snowfall. They're not even respecting Mother Earth. And if anybody would want to respect the Earth, the Democrats should be all over that.
Well, put it in perspective, the financial difficulties in the city of Chicago. And you spent how much?
$600 million.
Yeah.
And $400 million of it was to an organization just to staff the shelters. What a money grab. These people were making, the people that were, I'm sorry for interrupting, but the people that were at police districts, they were making $300 plus an hour. An hour.
Can I get on that?
Oh, no. That's
Did I miss the boat?
Oh, the police officers who were watching this chaos and smelling it and living with it because they were living. Can you imagine if somebody came into this office right now and set up shop?
Yeah, no.
And lived here with their toothbrush and their teddy bears and their food, and they used to smell all the smells. That person that was in charge of them to tell them to be quiet, $300 plus an hour.
And I think what has to happen locally here in Illinois and Chicago, investigate the NGOs, the non-government organizations.
Pritzker has 64 of them.
Yes, and that's how the Democrats are channeling money to their street, the street. That's what they're doing.
It's not just Democrats. Congressman Tim Burchett, I don't know if you guys heard his audio when he says it's going to come back, not just on Democrats. There are Republicans that are in the crosshairs with this as well. But how much did Brandon just borrow?
$830
and how much was the
interest? Is $2 billion, and a payment doesn't have to be made till 2027.
But how much did they spend on the migrant and the illegal immigrants?
$600 million.
Oh, is anybody in Chicago math in the math?
Well, that money they think might go to the CTU.
Well, yeah.
He says that it won't, but that's a bunch of bull
But
jive.
I'm saying that money, you have the money if they would have handled that illegal immigrant, sent them back to their home countries.
Yeah, well, it's all about, Brandon's doing his job. He is the product of CTU, the Chicago Teachers Union. Fix it for us.
Yeah.
Fix the game for CTU.
Yeah.
It's at CPS as well as at City Hall. And he's doing what they want. Yeah, he's a one-termer, but hopefully he can fix the game in such a way that it will go on for some time.
You know the rumor I started, right?
What?
Amy Jacobson for mayor.
Oh, please. Oh, my God. That's not even funny.
Let's do it, Amy.
Rich in Indian Head Park. I can't.
Hey, good morning, Amy.
Do not
Good morning,
hire
Charles.
Good morning.
Good morning, John.
Good morning.
Question I have for you guys is, why are these governors in these Democratic-run states willing to give up their federal funding that would help everybody in the states so men can play in women's sports? What's the plus to having men play in women's sports? Can they answer that question?
It's all a matter
it's
of
self-fulfilling.
What do they say in Chicago? Right. I don't want nobody sent. Yeah, well, a lot of these Democrat governors were sent by the people that support that stuff, and that's they're kind of trapped. And we're
it's
sort
a
of
failing issue.
Yeah, we're in transition right now. Like Brandon. Brandon was sent by the Chicago Teachers Union. He's got to do what he was sent, by whom he was sent. And that's one reason he can't get anything on the city council, because he doesn't have the political DNA to get it done.
That's a great point.
Yeah, and it's
but
a
he's
transition.
a great orator. I'll never forget. I went to this open mic with the candidates, kind of like a sit-down, relaxed conversation. It was at some bar on the West Side, and as soon as I heard him talk, I thought, I died inside. Like, oh no, he's gonna win. I just knew right there. I watched all the candidates, and I'd known about him, but I'd never seen him in person. And that minute, that very second, I knew it was over. I knew that there'd be a runoff, and I knew that he would win.
Before you go to the calls, did you? I told you that one of the things that I wanted to talk about Open Line Friday.
It's open mic Friday.
Okay.
We'll get it right. Don't get it on
Friday. I haven't been here in a while, and I wasn't invited until the last minute.
No, you weren't.
But the Department of Education has opened up a NDEI portal.
Yep.
For anybody to report any DEI things going on in schools. It's ndei.ed.gov. That's enddei.ed.gov.
And that's where you can go report it if you have a teacher that's talking about being binary and all that. All right. Let's go to George in Naperville. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hi, George.
Yes, Amy, on behalf of your listeners, I want to thank you for the nightmares we're going to have tonight about the mummified remains of Gene Hackman, his wife, and his dog. You said mummified about 10 times.
Well, just her hands, though.
Were they in there that long?
Oh, yeah.
How long were they in
her
there?
face was bloated. Okay, so now I'm going to
I don't know. I wasn't
Okay,
listening.
so the gardener was, in charge of that complex. He was
Okay, I heard the
outside.
beginning of
And
this.
he saw her body inside. He called 911. They get there. Her face was bloated. Her hands started
I heard
to...
you say this.
Yeah, okay. And she's by a space heater. The German Shepherd was 10 feet away in the bathroom closet, dead. There was a thing of pills out, and Gene Hackman was nearby in the mudroom, and they think he fell because his sunglasses were next to his body.
Okay, but here's...
So obviously they're going to do autopsy reports, hopefully a necropsy report on the dog.
Yeah.
There were 2 other dogs that were fine and did not look emaciated by any means, but I think they might have left out food and water, but that's
Here's
conjecture
a
on my
question,
part.
Because the initial reports was that the door was ajar.
Right.
But the guy said he couldn't get in.
Right, on the 911 call. It's a pretty big complex, so I think they have different doors. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a large property. So
it's not it's a home. It's not an apartment complex.
Oh, no. Gene Hackman? No. He lived in a nice gated community in Santa Fe.
Okay, I didn't cover it.
But he was 95 and she's 64, so she's so young. Yeah. So I don't know if it was suicide pact or if somebody poisoned somebody else or what it was. But if it was suicide pact, wouldn't you die together in the same bed?
Yeah, he probably stumbled over.
Huh?
And how far was he from? I trained deaf investigator.
So they said the bathroom was near the mudroom, but they didn't say how many feet away it was.
Did they say where the pills were?
The pills were on the countertop. So it's an open bottle of pills. Some pills on the countertop. The bottle there, they said it was prescription medication.
Yeah, I immediately thought.
I thought it was carbon monoxide. So did I, but they've ruled that out.
But if
fire department came and gas department came and they said absolutely no carbon monoxide leak.
Well, how would they know until toxicology is done? Because
they checked the area.
But how long were they in there though?
Days.
Okay, so the dogs got out, right? Wasn't there a dog that got out? Maybe that dog, when they let him out, opens up something and then all of the carbon monoxide leaves the
They'll
house.
do toxicology report.
Some sounds fishy.
Something sounds. Oh yeah, that's I don't know. All right, let's go to quickly. Chuck in Delavan, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. How are you, Chuck?
Hey, screw all that marriage shit. I married young. It's good. My wife ran off after 37 years with her boss. Karaoke tonight at Foley's Saturday and Sunday. I seen a girl at Pier 290 last week getting out of a Maserati, so I'm going to try to be friends and work my A material on her tonight because I found out from one of the waitresses that she's got a reservation there. And tomorrow night, D-Light Duo at the Abbey.
Okay.
So let's have at it. Have a good weekend.
Thanks. Chuck always lets us know what's happening because he and his girl broke up, so he's on the prowl again.
I heard that.
I know, and they were so cute together.
He could dance too.
Oh yeah, I never tweeted out that picture of him and I dancing.
No, I thought it was a video.
I mean the video of us dancing.
I tell you, I would hate to be out there right now.
Oh,
in the game. No way, man. It's too crazy for me.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
I'm with you. Nope. I'm totally with you.
All right.
25 years for me this year.
Good for you. Congratulations. All right. Well, thank you, John Anthony.
Hey,
thank you, Charles Thomas.
Thank you for having me here.
Thanks to Justin Kosick and Quinn McCarthy. Have a wonderful weekend. Now into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
An ex-Navy sailor pleads guilty to plotting an attack on Naval Station Great Lakes. DuPage County Sheriff James Mendrick announces a run for governor. And the Bulls host the Raptors tonight. WIND Chicago News Time, 9.
Cooling inflation. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. Americans cut spending last month at the sharpest rate in 4 years, despite that decline in consumer inflation.
Commerce Department data shows consumer spending dipped 0.2% in January, likely due to cold weather, but raising concerns about economic uncertainty. Inflation eased to 2.5% year over year, with core prices at 2.6%, the lowest since June. A report from the Federal Reserve's Boston branch says Trump tariffs could lift core inflation by as much as 0.8%. Matt Murphy, Fox News.
On Wall Street, the Dow was up 200 points this morning, the S&P up 12, the Nasdaq's down 36. Challengers to a Trump administration freeze on international aid funds have until noon today to file a response to Chief Justice John Roberts' order Wednesday. That order delayed a midnight Wednesday deadline for the funds to be dispersed, set by a lower court. More USAID workers, meantime, who've been let go are clearing out their desks today at headquarters in D.C., given 15 minutes to do it. Getting support from people driving by there. The Trump administration calls the United States Agency for International Development wasteful and corrupt. Ukraine's President Zelensky is due at the White House next hour, expected to sign off on an economic cooperation deal.
The mineral rights deal expected to be signed here today includes a joint venture between the U.S. and Ukraine to extract minerals out of the ground. The United States will be given a 50% share. While the U.K. has signaled a willingness to send peacekeeping forces to Ukraine along with the French, Russia's top diplomat says this is a non-starter. Last night in an exclusive interview with Bret Baier, Britain's prime minister says the U.K. will spend $17 billion more in defense over the next 2 years, but says all of Europe must ramp up defense spending to send a message to Putin.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. President Trump plans to sign an executive order making English the official language of the United States. It would negate a rule issued by former President Clinton requiring a